Greetings, 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 everyone. This is Professor Lorenzo McCoy of HealThyselfUniversity.net. Now, we're back here again talking about beef. Not the this is the proverbial beef, not the beef coming from the cows, but beef between black men. Once again, Umar Johnson has been blasting social media. Right now it's not Sultan Seti, Sarah Sultan Seti. It has to do with Tariq Nasheed and Dr. Boyce Watkins. Dr. Umar Johnson, as you see right here in the picture with me, and by the way, this is me back when I was 277 pounds. So further documenting when I got on my own health course, 30 days to a new you. This is showing you. See, I had a little weight right there and knocked all that weight off in 30 days. But yeah, going back to that. As you see by this picture, I'm not a fan of anyone, but I do build with anybody who is trying to promote goodness in the world, especially in the black community. And Dr. Umar Johnson is one of those ones. Now, me saying this, I see Tariq Nasheed and Boyce Watkins doing the same thing, just on a different vibration. Now, Tariq Nasheed, even though I used to watch some of his videos, and I'm not really into like the pimping game type talk, each of them have built their nation and their empire upon the vibrations of whoever their avatar is that they're marketing to. Umar Johnson reminds me of a mixture between, and like he says himself, a mixture between Nat Turner, uh, Douglas, and I'll even say Marcus Garvey. And the interesting thing about that a lot of us forget, because I know it's a lot of us that are like, man, this stuff is stupid. You know, it's pulling the nation down. Those ignorant people in the black community, the black leaders. Number one, every black man is a black leader, period. If you're doing something. If you're not doing anything, you're probably a follower. So if you're doing something, these people are just individuals. They're just doing something so they have a following. You're not doing anything but watching, so you're thinking that they're leaders, but everyone that's doing something is a leader, no matter what you're doing, good or bad. And the thing that I want to touch upon, this one might be a little long only because if you are not up to what's going on with Dr. Umar Johnson, who he is, Tariq Nasheed, who he is, and Dr. Boyce Watkins, I would say Dr. Umar Johnson is a person that has been working with the black child, the black male child in particular, who helping them from being placed into the background in the school system, which helps them to fall into the pipeline to prison. So he helps black mothers make sure they're not signing paperwork to get their children inoculated with Ritalin and all these things, taking different pills to calm them down. Oh, your child has ADHD. Oh, your child, he needs to be in special education. He helps out parents raise their children correctly so they're not pushed into the background so they can be institutionalized. Tariq Nasheed, and I'm discounting all the pimp stuff, I'm not really into that, but his Hidden Colors, excellent. I believe he's up to Hidden Colors part 4 right now. Excellent documentaries, all backed by, funded by himself. Excellent. Then you have, and here's Tariq Nasheed. Then you have, I'm sorry, this is Boyce Watkins right here, but I'm going to play this a little bit later so you can see what, this is Tariq Nasheed, to see what each of them are talking about and what the so-called beef is. Now, one thing you're going to see is that since Boyce Watkins is older, he's going to have a more, and now they all, now I'm just warning everyone, They all can use the F bomb and all that type of stuff. It's just Boyce Watkins is going to be a lot more mature because he's older. And also, he's appealing to a different type of avatar. And when I say avatar, anybody in business online, they must think about who they are marketing to. And Boyce Watkins is very stickler on starting your own businesses and financially prospering in a way so that you can succeed and bring your family forth also so that your family can sustain itself financially. Self, you know what I'm saying? Self-reliance, things like that. And they all pretty much do the same thing. But Boyce Watkins, is setting up his online schools and things like that. And you know that Umar Johnson is setting up his school that he's getting people ready for. That's also the center point for some big controversy. A lot of people are, why you want all this money, and I'm one of those ones that I agree with him when he says you're not asking everybody else about their degrees. If you want to know about his intellect, ask him some questions, see what he's doing. And I agree with him with that. I am Professor Lorenzo McCoy, and there is no institution, white or black, that gives me that title. I give myself that title because in the ninth grade, I had a teacher that said, you are all professors. And I was like, you know what? We are. If you conduct yourself accordingly and you are well read and you read more than anybody else around you and you can assimilate that information and you can regurgitate that information back accordingly to make changes, positive or negative, in your lives and the lives of people around you, you are a master. That's what master's all about. And yes, you are a doctor, which means teacher. So it's all about what you want to do. And I start my own school, so yes, I am the professor when it comes to that. Now, this brother here, Dr. Umar Johnson, actually did go get his degrees. He will tell you he has 6 of them, and it's very interesting. I have to say it is embarrassing when I hear black women. There's one black woman in particular, I'm not going to throw her name out, but I'm sure you can look it up. When she was interviewing him, the interview never did touch upon what he does with children. She was like, well, I'm a researcher. I looked up, tried to see where your degrees are from. I couldn't find it. And then he was like, okay, because he's so used to that, dealing with that for so long, he broke down the schools, every single one, and the year that he got his degree from and where he got his certifications from and all of that type of stuff. And she still was like, okay, what name is it under? So, I went online and he was like, okay, so we're not going to talk about what I came here to talk about. That her whole show was about that, and it was like arguing back and forth because she didn't feel like he was being forthright about it, but he was very honest and told her exactly where he got his degree from, what the degree was called, and what school he went to and what year. That should be enough. You need to go do that yourself. And I haven't seen anybody do that to anyone else. You're supposed to do that before you interview someone. And like he says, you think all these white colleges that I go to and do lectures for, and if I'm in the court of law and I am a professional specialist for the defense, you don't think they check my credentials? That will mess that whole case up if they didn't do their work, their due diligence. And that makes sense to me. That's very sound. You don't do that during the interview. That is very unprofessional. And so I'm going to have to agree with him on that. The thing with his school, I have to, and the reason why you see all of these tabs open, I have to remind us all that whenever someone's doing something this grandiose, don't think that there is not anybody outside who doesn't want that to happen. So for this particular one, I'm not gonna just go and jump on the bandwagon like most people do and wave a little flag for Umar, Tariq, or Dr. Boyce Watkins. It's about reminding you, people who feel like this is just such a travesty, it's so embarrassing. I'm here to remind you that it has been going on for a long time. You just forgot. And because of the advent of technology, where we are technologically, you can just get the information a lot faster. Case in point, let's go here. Let me see if you remember this.
Talking down to black people on this faith-based corrupt. Talking down to black people. Well, Jackson also making further crude remarks in that.
Really show exactly what he was saying, because this was actually on the news. Let me see. I think they'll show it here.
Reverend Jesse Jackson says he's very sorry for remarks he made about Senator Barack Obama. Jackson made the comments after an interview with Fox News, and he says he simply didn't realize his microphone was on at the time. A videotaped portion of his remarks shows Jackson telling another guest that Barack Obama was, quote, talking down to black people. Speaking to CNN's Don.
So you remember that one? Do you remember that? He wanted to cut Barack's nuts off. Now, I think it was taken out of context, you know what I'm saying? And people didn't really know exactly what he's talking about. But once again, he stuck his foot in his own mouth all the way back to Town, if you remember that. But I bring that up because as technology keeps progressing, you get more and more chances to catch what people really feel about each other. Now, you've seen Barack Obama was caught on a hot mic, but it didn't get that deep. You know what I'm saying? Not as deep as that. You know, he was talking about a couple of people, you know, in politics, you know, and about them trying to take away his Obamacare and stuff like that, you know. But he himself said, well, you know, everything I said in that hot mic are things that I said in public. But we also do remember that you guys president right now, Donald Trump, is talking about grabbing people's in the crotches and stuff like that. And y'all know what he said. You know, it's interesting during this time where women are always talking about how they've been treated sexually, and your president that you voted in was proud, saying, I got power, I got prestige, I'm a celebrity, I can do whatever I want, pretty much. If I want to kiss a woman, I'm going to just go after her and just start smooching her face. I don't care if she's married or not. And if I want it, I reach out and just grab her in the pussy. Now, you have to watch this one, because might as well say it, because when you hear a lot of these comments, these are people, these are grown men speaking off the top of their heads. Now, you might think, yeah, there's a way to be, you know, when you're intelligent, you don't have to use words like that. Well, I got to remind you about W.E. Dubois.
Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So in honor of Black History Month, I'm going to do this video right here, drawing comparisons and contrasts between W.E.B. Du Bois and Marcus Garvey. So the first similarity between these two great men is the fact that they both were organizers and writers. W.E.B. Du Bois founded the Niagara Movement, and he also co-founded the NAACP, the nation's largest and oldest civil rights organization. He was also the editor and one of the key writers for The Crisis magazine. And this brother also wrote masterpieces such as The Soul of Black Folks, The World in Africa, Black Reconstruction, The Negro in Philadelphia, and other masterpieces. Garvey, likewise, was an organizer. He organized and created the Universal Negro Improvement Association. He also founded the Negro World, a publication that was used to propagate his message of Black nationalism and Pan-Africanism. Both of these great men were champions of Pan-Africanism. Both of these men were courageous, fighters for social justice. They were fighters for freedom and justice for Black people. W.E.B. Du Bois organized several Pan-African conferences designed to organize African people to fight for self-determination, to fight to end colonialism. Garvey also was known for promoting Pan-Africanism, the idea that African people are one, that African people should unite, that African people should have one common, strong government. The slogan of Marcus Garvey was one aim, one destiny, one aim for black people and one destiny for black people. Also, he had the slogan of Africa for the Africans at home and abroad. Garvey's ideology inspired generations of black nationalists. He inspired groups like the Nation of Islam. In fact, the founding members of the Nation of Islam were members of the UNIA. Also, he inspired people like Malcolm X. Malcolm X, his parents were followers of Marcus Garvey. He inspired people like Kwame Nkrumah, the president of Ghana, one of the most prominent Pan-African leaders in the world. He was, during the time that he was alive. So both of these men were influential Pan-Africanists. They both were committed to the struggle for African people. Also, despite some of their ideological differences, which I will discuss a little bit later in this video, both of these men were under surveillance by the FBI and federal government. The FBI was investigating W.E.B. Du Bois for his ties to communists. And Garvey, they had been investigating Garvey from the beginning. In fact, they hired their very first black FBI agent so that he could infiltrate Garvey's organization and undermine Garvey's organization and sabotage his organization. Garvey reported, he talked about how he believed that the FBI and the government and other people conspired to sabotage the Black Star Line. Now, another aspect that's common between these two men, it's not a positive aspect, and that's their egos. Both of these men had inflated egos. W.E.B. Du Bois was a recognized scholar. He was one of the greatest intellectuals of the 20th century, so I'm sure that went to his head. Also, he came from an elite background. This is a man who went to a historically black university, Fisk, and he also went on to become the first African American to receive a PhD from Harvard University. And he had written many books, as I mentioned before, and I'm sure that fed his ego. So there are reports of him having a level of arrogance and some elitism. And that elitism is reflected in his talented 10th theory, this idea that the top 10% of the black community would lead the masses of the people. So that reflects some kind of ego and arrogance. Garvey also had a huge ego as well. Garvey appointed himself provisional president of Africa. President of Africa without consulting any of the African nations that he was the provisional president of. And this is something that's pointed out in the documentary. I will include a documentary link in the description box. I will also include links to all the sources that I relied upon for this video. Now, I pointed out the similarities. There were also differences between these men, obviously. They had ideological differences. Garvey, on the one hand, was fighting for black nationalism, black self-determination. He wanted black people to have their own separate nation, govern their own affairs, build their own. Whereas Du Bois, while he did advocate Pan-Africanism, he also advocated the fight for civil rights right here in this country, the fight for equal rights, the equal protection under the law, equal treatment under the law, voting rights, and things of that nature. Now, while these men had their differences, they initially supported each other. When Garvey first came to the United States and he wanted to give a major speech, he tried to meet with W.E.B. Du Bois so that he could serve as a chair during that address. But he was unable to meet with Du Bois. Du Bois wasn't present at the time when he went to the NAACP's office. Also, Du Bois had been spotted attending some of Garvey's mass meetings. And Du Bois is quoted as saying, "It may be that Garvey's movement will succeed." And he went on to say, "I shan't raise a hand to stop it." So that's, despite their differences, they did support each other. Now, another one of their differences was just which group they appealed to. Garvey's movement was a mass movement, so it appealed to the working class people, it appealed to the grassroots, whereas Dubois appealed more to the middle class black community, the professionals, the elite, and he also appealed to white liberals. So, because of their differences and because of, I think, jealousy, there was conflict between these two men, and it's unfortunate. Garvey actually met with the KKK, and I'll talk about that a little bit later in more detail, but he met with the KKK, and after that meeting, Du Bois described Garvey as a lunatic or a traitor. And he would also go on to insult Garvey further, referring to him as a little, fat, ugly black man with a big head. So he was basically dissing him. He was roasting him. Way back then, this intellectual went down to this level and started insulting this great Pan-African leader. And Garvey, also fired his own shots, referring to Du Bois as a misleader. He went on to say Du Bois is a little Dutch, a little French, a little Negro, a mulatto, why in fact he's a monstrosity, basically saying he's mixed up with all these different nationalities and he's a monster, basically dissing him for being a biracial black man. So in these disputes between these two men,
And see that, and I know I'm taking a little time with this because I want to illustrate this, and I like to thank the brother here. You see his YouTube channel is New Possibilities. This particular excerpt is WEB Dubois versus Marcus Garvey, part one. We're just going to check out only that one because I wanted to illustrate that for you guys. That is, even way back then, we got the name calling. We got Dubois actually also called Marcus Garvey a monkey, a black ugly monkey. You know what I'm saying? The N words do get thrown out, and we forget that each person is appealing to different camps. And a lot of time when you talk about the leader of one camp, all of the followers of that camp, they start attacking the other camp and the followers of the other camp. And you see this happening today. All of the Tariq Nasheed's people beefing with Umar Johnson's followers, and vice versa. The same thing is going on with Boyce Watkins' crew. And I'm not calling them crews because it's not that each of them actually really are trying to have a crew, but that's just naturally what happens when you gravitate to a certain icon, a certain leader, a certain celebrity. People begin to take it personal when you get attacked, and that's when damage usually happens. Like Umar Johnson started speaking against his own biological father, and the followers of Umar Johnson, people that he probably never met, just only listening to him on video, started seeking out Dr. Umar Johnson's father, and it was like death threats thrown at him and everything like that. And then those are those things we have to really watch what's going on. But once again, I'm trying to tell you guys, it's just technology that's making you think this stuff has never gone on before. You see, when people started making diss records, oh man, Biggie, Tupac just made something about you. Man, what are you talking about? He said he slept with your wife. What? And then he goes, listen to the song. Then he goes back. He goes to the studio, makes his own. Oh, Pac, Biggie going at you, man. Who shot you? Oh, and they goes back and forth until things escalate, and then you get the followers of each crew. Now we remember that East Coast West Coast thing is no different. Now, yes, it's childish, but it has been happening. It's nothing new. It's nothing that just started, is what I'm saying. There's a reason why wars have been going on for thousands of years. It starts from things like this. And you get followers to back certain segments. Like that's why there was a civil war here. You got so-called brother against brother. These white folks killing each other. And these are their own blood relatives because of ideologies and beliefs. how we're going to run this country. You know what I'm saying? What we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? What are we going to do with these black folks? What are we going to do with these resources? You know what I'm saying? Are we still going to stay connected to Britain? Are we going, can Texas, start their own country? What are we going to do? That came up. What are we going to do? How are we going to govern ourselves? It's enough for people to start killing themselves because of little sparks and dry grass that become conflagrations of madness. And that's what's going on here. Certain things get said. Now, before I go into it, I'm going to let these guys speak for themselves. Just in case you didn't see the rants, I'm putting that last because I want to give you my backdrop first to show you this thing has been going on. And I wanted to use this opportunity to talk about Robert F. Williams, somebody that you probably have never even heard of, but somebody that people like Dr. Martin Luther King and many others were paid cash. Well, I think it was a check back then to talk against this guy. Now let's see who Robert F. Williams was. Negroes with Guns is his book. Robert F. Williams was born and raised in Monroe, North Carolina. After serving in the Marine Corps in the 1950s, he returned to Monroe and in 1956 assumed leadership of the nearly defunct local NAACP chapter. Within 6 months, and his membership grew from 6 to 200. Many of the new members were like him, military veterans trained in the use of arms. In the late 1950s, the unwillingness of Southern officials to address white violence against blacks made it increasingly difficult for the NAACP to keep all of its local chapters committed to nonviolence. In 1959, after 3 white men were acquitted of assaulting a black woman in Monroe, Williams publicly proclaimed the right of African Americans to armed self-defense. The torrent of criticism this statement brought down on the NAACP prompted its leaders, including Thurgood Marshall, Roy Wilkins, and Martin Luther King Jr., to denounce Williams. The NAACP eventually suspended him, but he continued to make his case for self-defense. And I wanted to say that too about Marcus Garvey. It was black folks from this country that went to the government saying, please, could you deport him? Could you get him up out of here, please? They went to the government, the people that they say they were fighting against and it's whooping them upside the head. They went to them and said, could you get rid of Marcus Garvey for us? We're tired of this black monkey. Get him up out of here. And they did. And I'm bringing him up too. They did not want him to get that Black Star Line off. This black man was sending millions of dollars through the mail to black people. They were just getting mail in their checks. Saying he was asking for money. He was giving out money. He was buying up big ocean liners to go back and forth. And they sent FBI agents to infiltrate his organization and to make sure that the boats he got were not seaworthy, to make him look stupid. You know what I'm saying? But because what he was doing was just too big. And I'm bringing it up, the same thing. No matter what you think about Umar Johnson, there are forces out here, and we can talk about conspiracy theories. There are forces out here that do not want that school to happen. That's just a fact. No matter what you think about him, no matter what you think about Tariq Nasheed, there are forces out here that do not want documentaries like Hidden Colors to come out. No matter what you think about Dr. Boyce Watkins, there are forces out here that do not want anybody to set up online schools to teach black people how to be financially stable and to start businesses on their own and financially literate like he's doing to build wealth in the black community. There's a lot of forces that do not want that to go, no matter what you're thinking. Now, I'm going to give you another backdrop. Now, this is taken from, as you see right here, the National Humanities. And I forgot to, you can see it in the video where I would show you the clip of Jesse Jackson talking about cutting off Barack Obama's balls, his nuts. But I like to always show you guys, if I forget to put the links up there, at least while I'm showing you the sources where I'm getting this information from, I like to always document and show you where I'm getting this information from. So, of course, you see the National Humanities Center Resource Toolbox, The Making of African American Identity, Volume 3, 1917 to 1968. So it's a PDF from their site. I always want to give credit where credit is due. And with this one, I want to give you a little bit more information because there's a lot of us who really don't know much about Robert F. Williams. So, let me see, this is in his words, but this one he goes, this is a guy from, sound like he's from England somewhere. Could be from Wales or Scotland somewhere, I don't know, but somewhere in Britain.
10,000 League, and today I am going to teach you about the revolutionaries of the United States Civil Rights Movement. Let's go. The first revolutionary we're going to mention is Robert F. Williams. Before we start, there's something I'd like to say about the way that the United States Civil Rights Movement is taught, and I think it's very similar to the way that Britain teaches Indian history. Well, they would tell us about Gandhi and nothing else. They won't tell us about the Hindustan Socialist Republican Party, who fought a violent revolution against the British. They won't tell you about the first National War of Independence. They won't tell you about the communist naval mutinies. They won't tell you about the Ghadar Party. They won't tell you about Udham Singh, Bhagat Singh, Santokh Singh. Completely whitewashed. No student knows about them. And the very same is happening with United States history. They'll tell you about Martin Luther King. They'll tell you a bit about Rosa Parks. Good people. But the revolutionaries, the nitty-gritty ones who gave their lives for the revolution, who fought violently and gave their all, are completely forgotten in classes. You know, how many students know about Robert F. Williams, Paul Robeson, or how many of them know the background of Huey P. Newton and how he founded the Black Panther Party? Not many. So the purpose of this video is to tell you the background that they don't teach you in the classes, the background that doesn't whitewash it with leaders who do not threaten capitalism and don't threaten imperialism.
Unite, organize, and arm for self-defense. Only a fool will turn the other cheek to racist beasts who set out to exterminate our brutally oppressed people.
Robert F. Williams was a revolutionary in the United States, and he accomplished a lot in his life. He was a Marine. He was part of the migration north during World War II. He was a member of the National Rifle Association and a head of his local branch. He was a head of the local branch of his NAACP. He campaigned against segregation in libraries and swimming pools, and he successfully got them integrated. He fought a violent gun battle with a KKK caravan. He travelled to Cuba to start a radio station, and he met leader of the Chinese Communist Revolution, Mao Zedong. So we see that the man accomplished a lot. Here are the details. Robert F. Williams' grandmother was a former slave, and it was her that gave Robert F. Williams one of his first guns. Robert F. Williams was a part of the migration north during the World War II rush for work. He was a part of the Marines, and when he left the Marines, he went back to his hometown of Monroe. He used the NAACP to desegregate the libraries and the swimming pools in his hometown of Monroe. Now, Monroe had a lot of KKK activity, and they had caught wind of Robert F. Williams' successful campaigns against segregation. So, because of the increased KKK activity, there were rumours going about that a KKK caravan would attack a local man called Dr. Percy. Now, Robert F. Williams had established a national branch of the National Rifle Association in his hometown, and he used it to recruit local black veterans of World War II to help him defend the town from the KKK. He boarded up Dr. Percy's house with sandbags, and the rumours turned out to be true, so it was lucky that he found out about them. The KKK did attack Dr. Percy's house with an entire caravan. They opened fire on Dr. Percy's house, and Robert F. Williams, and with the help of his local black comrades from the National Rifle Association, fought back and repelled the attack on Dr. Percy's house by opening fire on the KKK caravan. So a very brave man to be firing his gun against the KKK. That's the kind of revolutionary that Robert F. Williams was. And Robert F. Williams later went on to write a book called Negroes with Guns. This book was the inspiration for the Black Panther Party, and it was read by Huey P. Newton. In 1958, he successfully defended two black boys in what was called the kissing case. This was a legal case in the United States where two black boys, one was 8, I think the other was 9, around that age, had been arrested and put in jail because a white girl had kissed one of them. This is how awful things were living in the United States for a black person, that whether you're 8 years old, 9 years old, you can get thrown in jail for something harmless like this. Robert F. Williams successfully defended the two black boys and got them released from jail. In 1961, there were race riots in his hometown of Monroe. He sheltered a white couple during the riots to protect them from one of the crowds. He released, well not released, but the white couple left. They stayed at this house long enough for the riots to subside and it was safe for them to leave. But the FBI accused him of kidnapping this couple and sent out an arrest warrant for Robert F. Williams. Robert F. Williams fled from the FBI by traveling to Cuba. Now, Cuba had recently had a communist revolution, and they were very friendly to Robert F. Williams. In fact, Fidel Castro, leader of the Cuban Communist Revolution, had helped Robert F. Williams to start a radio station called Free Dixie, or Free Radio Dixie. Now, this radio station was headed by Robert F. Williams to broadcast back to the United States to tell people about his experience of the Cuban Revolution. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, he called on black people in the United States Army to rebel or to mutiny against the United States Army if they ever tried to attack Cuba. Now, after his time in Cuba, he went to Vietnam, or he went to North Vietnam, where he called for armed resistance against the United States. And then after that, he traveled to China, where he met Mao Zedong, leader of the Chinese Communist Revolution. What's even more impressive, though, is that Robert F. Williams met Mao Zedong on the 1st of October 1966. The 1st of October in China is called National Day, and it celebrates the founding of the People's Republic of Chinese Government, the PRC, the People's Republic of China. Now, this is like the equivalent of the 4th of July in the United States. So imagine Barack Obama met with someone and shook their hand on the 4th of July. That would be an idea of how impressive it would be, how important Robert F. Williams was to the Chinese. When Robert F. Williams met Mao Zedong, he got Mao Zedong to sign his copy of Quotations from Mao Zedong. He travelled back to the United States via London, and all the charges against him were dropped. He spent the remainder of his life working for the University of Michigan in their Center for Chinese Studies, and in 1996 he died from Hodgkin's disease. But not before he could get one more achievement, which was at his funeral. The eulogy was given by Rosa Parks, the woman who refused to give up her bus, which led to the Montgomery bus boycotts. That is Robert F. Williams. Now, the next revolutionary we have is Huey P.
Well, I wanted to give you that excerpt, but just a little bit more because a lot of people don't know who the hell Robert F. Williams is and who he was. As you see, without him, there would be no Black Panther Party, but he would be the revolutionary of his time, like a Umar Johnson. You know, somebody that whenever he spoke, now you can see a little bit more why a lot of people that were more, you know, catering to the so-called upper class, upper crust of black folks probably would not want to be associated with this guy. They'd be too afraid they would lose the little crumbs that they're getting off the table by affiliating with this guy. And he is reported to saying, which is why I'm bringing it up, he called Martin Luther King a phony. You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of name calling even for this. Also, let me give me time to give credit to where credit is due. This person's YouTube page is Proletarian TV. This was the U.S. Civil Rights Robert F. Williams portion of this particular video segment. And let's hear a little bit from Robert F. Williams. Then I'm going to go ahead and let you hear from Dr. Umar Johnson, Tariq, Nasheed, and Boyce Watkins themselves. So I know this is a little bit long, but I wanted to give my own backdrop just to give my little point, my little critique on. There's nothing different going on. It's just black men stepping on each other's toes. Things get said, and they push against each other in a way that, you know, hopefully in the end they will come together. But it's just something that always has happened, because when you are black power, like a Umar Johnson, you're talking about going against the establishment, starting your own school. You're taking money in. Black people really aren't used to giving black people money. They're used to giving white people money. So you're getting attacked about that. You're getting attacked about your credentials from school. You know, he told everybody he was celibate. They found out he was sleeping with a stripper or something like that. You know, he's got his little controversies, and he's, you know, probably feeling like he's by himself. And there's that arrogance why I showed you W.E.B. Dubois and Marcus Garvey, when you get that big, there is a little arrogance that comes with any type of celebrity. That's why they're celebrity. That's why Michael Jordan can be elitist in his thinking, because that's what makes a great person. That's something that a lot of people forget. It's just that now in this day and age, I keep centering back to technology. You're just getting a chance to hear what they say. You're getting a chance to hear their thoughts. Even Michael Jordan, you didn't always hear what he thought. You know what I'm saying? But the way he thought about other people, every now and again, it comes out. You know what I'm saying? And you might see, like Charles Barkley would tell it. You know, you see different guys, you know, when they start talking about each other, things come out and you're like, okay, they really hate each other. You know, you never know what's going on. We just saw recently, what's the brother's name? It was Magic Johnson talking to the other basketball player. I can't even think of his name right now. His name will come to me. But you know, they had a rivalry, and he admitted, Isaiah Thomas, he admitted that he used his influence to keep Isaiah Thomas off the Dream Team. All because of, you know, something that Isaiah said about him having AIDS, you know, back in the day when he came out with AIDS, and Isaiah, you know, came out. You know, there's a lot of people forget. A lot of people didn't want to play with him. They were like, what if he bleeds on us? You know, he breathes on us, we're going to get AIDS too. There was a very big backlash that came about that, and there was a grudge held by both of them that, you know, probably stopped a lot. You know what I'm saying? When you keep somebody off the Dream Team, and ain't no telling how many business dealings that, you know, they could have had, that he might have stopped, you know, and used his power. Things like this go on with men and women. There's animosity and there's things that happen, but as you see in the end, they were able to talk about it and apologize and try to make amends. So that's what I'm putting out here for these guys. They're just powerful men doing things in their realm, and they step on each other's toes every now and then. When something is said, I don't want to say the female part of them comes out, because a lot of people don't understand what I mean when I talk about masculine energy and female energy. But that very emotional part that's in everybody, it comes out, and it is represented in all this bickering. And a lot of females get what I'm talking about too. That the female in the man comes out, that manliness about them stops, and the very emotional estrogenic part of them comes out, and that's what you begin to start seeing when these guys are bantering. I'm gonna go ahead and play their stuff right after this.
Because through the organization we would have competent counsel, and that if it hadn't been for you, that these people would have been punished. And
this is Monroe, North Carolina. The town where local NAACP president Robert Williams created headlines when he said, "Sometimes violence must be met with violence." Many asked why.
Because some of the people who had thought that it would be better to settle these cases violently, I had been able to persuade them that we should use the courts and go into the courts. So this thing had boomeranged, and I was being held responsible for having brought these cases to court. There was a trial where a Negro maid had been kicked down a flight of stairs by a white man, and that this man hadn't even bothered to come to his own trial, and that he had also been acquitted. And there was a demonstration as a result of this in the courtroom by the Negro women of the community, and they had approached me and had said, well, you said that you would see that these people would be punished because through the organization we would have competent counsel, and that if it hadn't been for you, that these people would have been punished. And they wanted to know what I would recommend that they do from then on. And so I recommended that they meet violence with violence, that Negroes must be prepared to repulse attacks that they must be willing to fight, that they must be willing to die and to kill if necessary, that there was no law, and no 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution of equal protection in the South, and that therefore they didn't have any deterrent, so they would have to create the deterrent force themselves by meeting violence with violence.
Okay, and as you see, this particular YouTube channel is Paul Lee, and this excerpt is Negroes with Guns, Robert F. Williams on Self-Defense. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys hear from these guys themselves. And you know what? I might even start with Boyce Watkins first. See, he hadn't really jumped in on this topic because he was traveling, actually doing work in Guyana in South America, you know, right by Venezuela. You know, he does a lot of touring and business, you know, aligning himself with many entities all across the planet with black folks who want to build on businesses with each other, online, offline, brick and mortar, you know, and sharing his knowledge. People, you know, invite him all across the planet, just like they do Umar Johnson and Tariq Nasheed. And I played you Robert F. Williams because people like to forget that when there is a revolutionary stance, you're going to have a lot of people going up against them. So Umar Johnson speaks on black people needing to stay with themselves, being self-reliant, being, you know, fighting with these school systems, starting your own school instead of, you know, letting these people make your children special ed and putting them on different medicines, you know, and things like that. He gets a lot of flack because of that. You know what I'm saying? It's a very revolutionary stance, just like with Robert F. Williams. And name calling does come out. Like I told you, he called Martin Luther King a phony. You know what I'm saying? Malcolm X was against Martin Luther King in the beginning, you know, and things like that. But in the end, they did get a chance to reconcile, but then they were both killed, of course, you know, before they can really do anything. They both, you know, Martin Luther King actually did meet with Elijah Muhammad. He and Malcolm X did embrace, and he actually met with Coretta Scott King first, I believe, and because he was trying to meet with her husband. But they never got a chance to really build much. But you started hearing in Martin Luther King's speeches a lot of the same rhetoric that Malcolm X would say. And that was right around the time they got rid of Martin Luther King. Not because I have a dream speech and that ideology where you can come into our house and rape our wives and kill our little daughters and we still love you. I'm still going to hug you and kill you with kindness, that type of stuff. You know, I'm not with that either. You better not come up in here and mess with my family. You will be met like Robert F. Williams style. You will be met with whatever you're coming up in here with. You want to be met with kindness, you better meet me with kindness. You want to meet me with violence, I got violence for you. Because I believe that's our Creator endows us as men of our families to protect our families by any means necessary if we have to. We will prefer to be lovable parents in our communities, but we're not going to sit up here and allow our children to be manipulated and raped and pillaged and things like that. So that's why I played you guys that stuff there. Now here is Dr. Boyce Watkins talking about this situation.
Let's go back. I'm looking at some of the comments here. Darren said Umar said that. Yeah, you know, let's speak on that a little bit. Yeah, Umar has said a lot of really smart things throughout the years. I think that if you listen to Umar's speeches, Umar Johnson, that's what I'm referring to, you're going to learn a lot. You know, if all he did was just lecture and kind of just do his lecture thing, I think that it would be very easy to just kind of say, okay, you know, he's good. You know, people support him. I think that what's interesting is that, you know, you saw a little bit of discord. You saw, you know, people kind of feeling that Tariq Nasheed went off code by talking about Umar. You know, they're basically by speaking on, you know, what Umar had said, you know, about him and done, etc. That was a problem. And so I'm gonna give you the summary version of what my perception is based on me knowing. I know Tariq. You know, I've done a lot of business with Tariq. I know of Umar. I followed him. We've met a few times. You know, things like that. And as you know, Umar has never really been all that interested in being my friend, which it is what it is. But here's the short and long of it. I hear what people are saying, and I'm gonna just be as honest with you as I possibly can be. All I know how to do is tell the truth on this. Basically, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that the public is not aware of. You know, if you haven't been able to closely follow everything for years, and you don't know the parties involved as well as all surrounding parties over a long period of time, you know, you don't really kind of know exactly how it got to that point. It's almost like if you show up at a playground and you see your child, you know, punch another child in the face, and you want to just say, well, you know, I told you that hitting is bad. You don't know what's really going on. You know, it could be a situation where that person has been fucking with your child for a year, and your child has held their tongue. Your child has held back the fist. They have tried to tell the teacher. They have gone to you, you know, or whatever, and you didn't listen. And so the child just lost it. You know, the child just kind of like, and I know that I used to be that. Like when I was a kid, I would be quiet and kind of cool. And my brother's like this too. I think it's because we got the same DNA. We would sit there and we were the good kids. You know, we didn't get in no trouble, whatever. My brother especially. And we would just sit there and chill and chill and chill. But then you push the wrong button one too many times, all hell breaks loose. You get helter-skelter on your ass. And somebody might die that day because all the rage that's been being held in is finally released. You know, my brother did that when he was a kid. He had a little friend, little hood-ass kid down the street, you know, a little kid that you kind of look at and you kind of know, unfortunately, like one day he'll probably go to prison because he's not getting any help or any guidance from his family. This kid was in that category. And so anyway, the kid would come over. He was kind of a bully. He would kind of push my brother around and kind of be disrespectful. And my brother kind of put up with it. And I was just kind of like, you know, don't let him do that to you, you know, because my brother was little. I couldn't really jump into any of that. And then one day he just pushed him around too much. And my brother whooped that ass. I mean, whooped his ass. And I didn't say nothing. You know, I just pulled him back, made sure they was both okay. But I felt like it was kind of a what's the word? A coming of age, like a necessity for manhood. Because I'll tell you what, after he fucked that kid up, that little boy didn't mess with him no more. And so really, in a way, if you really want my honest to God assessment on kind of like what happened with Tariq and Umar, let me just say this, you know, when it comes to Tariq, and I'm not even vouching for when I vouch for somebody in a particular instance, I'm not vouching for as if I co-sign every single thing they've ever done and anywhere. So if you have issues with anybody, including myself, based on something that you saw a year ago or whatever, that's cool. That's on you. I'm talking about this particular scenario. My interpretation is that Tariq Nasheed has been the most disciplined person I have ever seen when it came to not speaking publicly about Umar Johnson's bullshit. The most disciplined person ever. Tariq not only wouldn't talk about it publicly, he wouldn't even talk about it privately. Like, I would just hit Tariq up. I remember when I met Tariq for the first time, it was right before he did Hidden Colors 4. And we met in Chicago because actually he was having kind of a weird thing with Zaza Ali. Both Tariq and Zaza are friends. I do business with both of them. I talked to Zaza yesterday. You know, she's my buddy. We real cool. Much respect to Zaza. And I saw what was going on with him and Zaza, and I kind of just texted him. I said, you know, come on, man. Like, I didn't even know him. But I knew he knew of me, and I just said, let me just do my part to kind of just encourage him to find a way to work through this, because I just kind of feel like Zaza's a good person. I don't think she means ill, and I don't think Tariq does either. But it was what it was. I don't even, when I talk to both of them, it's like, I don't even want to, I don't know what to, I think y'all both are smart. And that's all I'm going to say, you know. And so basically, you know, I remember I met him in Chicago. It was like almost like an act of God. It was meant to happen because I texted him. I said, where you at, man? And he said, oh, I'm flying into O'Hare. I said, really? I said, oh, I'm in O'Hare. Let's meet. So he flew into O'Hare. I said, what gate you at? He told me what gate. I went and met him at his gate, and we walked to the baggage claim together. And that was literally our first face-to-face conversation. Then we met a couple more times, you know, at events, and Dame Dash, you know, when me, him, and Dame Dash kind of hung out in LA for a little bit. And so walking to the gate, you know, that was when we kind of got a chance to really talk. And that was when he asked me to be in Hidden Colors 4. And I said, oh, I'd be honored. I mean, I love your movies. I think they're great. I'd be very happy to do it. You know, I didn't think anything about money. You know, it's like, oh, no, this is a great project, you know, by a great filmmaker. And I'm honored to be a part of this. So I remember I texted him and I said, is Umar going to be in Hidden Colors 4? And all he said was, Umar Johnson will not be in Hidden Colors 4. Like, it was almost like an official corporate statement. Like, it wasn't like, yeah, man, let me call you, tell you, man, what's been going on. Let me tell you what this guy's been. It wasn't none of that. It was like, you know, like literally, it was like, you know, King Flex Entertainment released a statement stating that Umar Johnson will not be appearing in this film, and we wish him well. Like, it was very formal, you know, like sticking to code. And literally, Tariq did that for 2 years. You know, I wished in my mind, I was like, I wish people could kind of get a glimpse into his mind so that they can see all the crazy things that Umar has been doing to try to poke at him for all this time. I was like, wow, I have a lot of respect for his discipline, because I don't know if I have that much discipline. You keep messing with me like that, eventually I'm going to just, again, the truth. I'll start telling the truth. Like, no, like, stop it, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, this isn't making any sense. You know, and here's the other thing that was going. So basically what you saw with that video, and you should watch it. It's kind of, you know, I mean, it was a video. Let me just screen share so you can kind of watch like some of it, a little bit of it, to kind of get the gist of it. The rest you can watch on your own. You could tell he was angry. You could tell that he was just kind of exasperated. He was just kind of like, I'm just done. I'm tired of trying to be polite. I'm tired of trying to protect, you know, and here's the thing. And this is my thing for the young people. Like, I know with the young people, I believe their heart's in the right place. But the thing about it is that Black unity can't mean that you accept any sort of poison that comes into the community. Sometimes you got to deal with situations or people that are really disruptive. And here's the thing, the common denominator, this is for people who have logic. You know, I want you to logically think about this. When somebody is beefing with every single person, the common denominator is you. If you're fighting with everybody, you're the common denominator. And so the thing is that while I knew that Tariq had his issues with Umar, and even back then when he issued that official sounding statement, I remember I said to one of my friends, or my manager at the time, I said, yeah, I think something's up with him and Umar. Because why would you not put Umar in your movie? Umar's great, you know, on screen. He's been in Raheem Shabaz's movie. He's done a great job. And I've been, you know, the Elementary Genocide series that Raheem Shabazz did, very good series. Everybody should check it out. Umar was extraordinary in those films, and I was always happy to be in the film with him. I would have hired him to be in my movies, you know, if he'd have had enough sense to pick up the phone and not decide that he hated everybody like from day zero. So I saw this very strange paranoia coming out of that, and I thought Tariq was just going to stay silent forever. I didn't think Tariq was really going to burst it out. And so, you know, I will say that I don't think anybody wins when this kind of thing happens. I think it's kind of sad too as well. I was looking at some of the comments. I think a lot of people just didn't understand. They're like, man, why would you do this? That's another Black man. Why would you diss another Black man? And the thing is that we have no problem dissing another Black man if he's like a Republican. Like, what if it was Sheriff David Clark? Or what if it was Dr. Ben Carson? Or what if it was Omarosa and her old cooning ass? Like people would have no problem dissing Omarosa. So if you think that staying on code means never dissing another Black person in public, then shit. Then that means every Black person should be okay. Like, we should just bring in Uncle Ruckus. Every Uncle Ruckus in the world should be able to just say what they want with impunity. Well, no, we don't believe it. You know, the code only goes so far. The code only goes so far. Unity doesn't mean, here's two things it doesn't mean. Number one, it doesn't mean every Black person always agrees and always gets along. You need diversity of perspective so you can have the best ideas emerge. You can have unity and still have dissension, have disagreement, have debate. The third thing, or excuse me, the next thing on the list is that unity does not mean that you co-sign on any Black person just because they're Black. Every person with brown skin ain't your motherfucking friend. Just because they black does not mean they got your back. You know, so at the end of the day, this is not a black community, black conscious civil war. The civil war is everybody on one side, Umar Johnson by himself on the other. That's what the civil war is. There is no like great divide, no great debate. Because I'm going to tell you the goddamn truth. When you get prominent or public figures together that have all worked with Tariq and worked with Umar, the conversations are not pretty. I have gotten multiple calls, phone calls, long conversations in private with people who have been like, what the hell is going on with this guy? Like we were at the church and this happened and he cussed out everybody at the church. And I never told you guys about the church incident because I was waiting for somebody who was there to talk about it. I don't really want to get into that because I was already getting enough heat back from people saying, well, you should never speak negatively on another black man in public. Who would spend, what black man spends that much time talking about another black man? And I was like, people are just not going to understand. So I don't even want to even talk about it because they won't get it. But I'm going to tell you, there was a church incident in DC where Umar was one of the speakers, and this is elders. These are respected elders. I'm talking about people like the Rock Newmans and the Carl Nelsons and Anthony Browder was there and some other people. I'm talking about respected OGs in the game, like people that really hold it down for the black community and were holding it down when everybody watching this live stream was in diapers. When all of y'all were in diapers, when half of y'all wasn't even thought of yet, these guys and these women were holding down the black community. And at this event, Umar gets upset because he arrived late. He was supposed to speak at whatever time it was. He gets there late. He's pissed because they moved on without him. He's cussing, acting a fool, and there's a major confrontation that happens backstage where there's almost a fist fight between one of the elders and Umar. And I'm like, what is this shit? Like this, if this don't make us look like a bunch of pack of crazy coons, I don't know what does. But here's the thing. Here's the thing you got to understand. These people, they've been showing respect to each other. I mean, these are the people that roll with Francis Cress Welsing. These are the people that roll with those who laid the foundation. They didn't behave like, they didn't have this kind of stuff happen like on a regular basis back in the day, unless it was like maybe somebody who was an agent planted in the community just to create disruption. I'm not saying Umar's in that category, but it has happened before. They schooled me on this. I had a talk with one of the OGs, and I'm not going to say names because I want them to be the ones. I'm going to encourage them publicly. If you have a story, please share it so people can at least draw the whole picture. It's like again, the analogy with the little kid getting in the fight. Tell what's been going on, that your child was being bullied and that's why they punched the guy out. It wasn't because your child just wants to be violent, and so anyway, so literally, I remember having a long conversation. He schooled me. He said, yeah, back in the 70s and the 80s, one mistake we made was that we had some people that we believe were planted in the conscious community to kill the momentum behind what we were trying to do. They were just there to create chaos, just there to disrupt, just there to cause problems and cause fights so that we couldn't get along and move forward. And so I'm not putting that on Umar at all now, but I'm just trying to I hope everybody who's fair-minded, who's open-minded, can take a second and just try to see the big picture and realize Tariq could have done this video. He's more disciplined than me. I did my video announcing I was done with Umar in 2015 or something like that. Like it was winter 2015, it was like 2 years ago when I did mine. Tariq could have done the same video 2 years ago, but he didn't, because he didn't want to disrupt the code. He's like your child who's getting slapped over and over again by the bully and being spit on and shit on, and they're sitting there saying, well, I don't want to be a fighter. I don't want to go to detention. I don't want to get in trouble. So they're letting the other kid just run ramshot over them. And then eventually the child just gets up and knocks that motherfucker out. And so I'm not saying that you can just agree and co-sign on everything Tariq said in the video. It's up to you to decide which parts you agree with, which parts you don't. But just understand, a lot of this was a long time coming, and it's kind of insanity. So let me show you guys a little bit of a short clip of kind of what Tariq had to say. He said it in a way that only Tariq can say it, and so I'll let you guys just kind of watch it and kind of feel free to make your comments and give me a take on it. Here, Tariq had to say, he said it in a way that only Tariq can say it, and so I'll let you guys just kind of watch it and kind of feel free to make your comments and give me your take on it. Tariq had to say. Give me a second. He said it in a way that only Tariq can say it, and so I'll let you guys just kind of watch it and kind of feel free to make it a second, guys. I think. But while I do this, do me a favor. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the follow button and the share button and all that stuff. So that other people can know about the podcast, Intellectual Chocolate. If you want to subscribe or if you want to be a guest, go to intellectualchocolate.com. That's intellectualchocolate.com. So let me try so that other people can know about the podcast, Intellectual Chocolate. If you want to subscribe or if you want to be a guest, go to intellectualchocolate.com. That's intellectualchocolate.com. So let me try so that other people can know about the podcast. I'm just going to let it go because apparently.
And I might go ahead and play it from my feed. It looked like he was having a problem on his side. We're just going to play it right here, then I'll go back into his commentary.
All right, because I'm recording this now, but I got to address this.
And as you see, this is from Black Knowledge on my Facebook page. So somebody named Black Knowledge.
All right, because I'm recording this now, but I got to address this fat fuck nigga, Dr. Umar Johnson. Now, he just did a live video. Now, let me start over. For those who don't know, Moist, the moist fucking walrus-looking nigga, put up a post today just disrespecting me, talking about he going to address me and Boyce Watkins tonight. And a lot of people are like, yeah, this is not a good look for the family. But look, I don't let this hoe ass nigga. Yeah, I just saw the live stream on Instagram. He's making threats about what he's gonna do physically if people got his name in if we got his name in our mouth, talking about me and Boyce Watkins. Look, nigga, Moist, your name is in my fucking mouth. If you put, this nigga's doing all that sniffing and blinking. If you put my name in your mouth, it's gonna get physical. Nigga. Umar fucking Johnson. Umar bitch made Johnson. Your name is in my mouth, nigga. I'm saying your bitch ass name. Your name is in my fucking mouth. You should say, I'm gonna get physical. Hello? Imaginary goons? Clown ass nigga. Look. Dude. Umar Johnson, big fat fuck nigga, bitch ass, con ass nigga. Oh, look, let me apologize. Jermaine Shoemaker, whatever the fuck your name is, nigga. Yeah, he's gonna call the Phantom Goons. He's gonna call the Phantom fucking Goons. This fat fuck boy been taking shots at me for a long time. As you have noticed this, Umar has taken shots at me for a long time. I've done nothing but help this nigga. I helped this nigga by putting him in my movie. Do you know this nigga just did a live stream talking about I owe him a favor because of him he made Hidden Colors pop off. This nigga is on live stream talking about, Tariq should have had my back. Sniffing and blinking. Tariq should have had my back because I did him a favor with Hidden Colors. I made Hidden Colors pop off. Fuck. My fucking... Dude, I've been so neutral with this hoe ass nigga. Understand, fat fuck boy, you ain't gonna do shit. Your name is in my mouth. I'm gonna keep saying it and you ain't gonna do a motherfucking thing. This nigga's been talking slick about me for years and I've let it slide. He's a fuck boy, man. Umar's a fuck boy. People, man, y'all don't start that. Man, y'all can't be doing this, man. How much longer I gotta let this fake ass, con ass, fraudulent ass nigga just take shots at me, man? Enough is enough. Damn. I'm defending this nigga. He just did a video. You talking about you neutral? You didn't have my back. You said charge it to the game if Umar stole something. I didn't say all that. What the fuck you talking about, nigga? This dude, Umar, man, he has been taking shots at me for the longest. I put him in my movie, he takes a shot at me. I defend this nigga against the stripper. When that shit popped off, I defended him. He came out shitting on me. Put up some tweets talking about when I went on my code of conduct tour, he's like, yeah, code of conduct, just keep my name out your mouth. The fuck it? Then he deleted the tweet. He'd been doing little shit like that for a minute, man. I let it slide because I'm like, if I go in on this nigga, that's going to look bad for the movement, what we trying to do. You know, I don't want it to be all crazy, but he's going beyond subliminals. Umar has gone beyond subliminals. He's been taking shots at me for years. I've let them slide. I've let them slide. Family, I would like for you to find any public comment that I made dissing Umar. Hold on, somebody said this is Umar sneak dissing me last year. I mean, people send them shits all the time. Hold on.
If I wasn't who I was, if I wasn't the most requested scholar in the world, if I wasn't the most popular voice on the circuit, they wouldn't care where I got my doctorate from. It would be irrelevant. It only matters because they wish that they were in my spot. So I'll tell them, like I tell you, if you want the top spot, come and get it. Okay?
And then that's a nigga on the narcotic. I'm in the top spot. I'm the best. This nigga's sitting in struggle hotels talking about how great he is. Fuck that, nigga. I'm the best. I'm the top scholar. I'm the most requested. I'm in the Motel 6 and I'm the top. I'm on the top. That shit is corny. You sound like a fucking idiot, dude. And you've been sounding like a motherfucking idiot. That's why people back up off your ass. I ain't diss you. I'm like, I ain't co-signing this nigga shit. So I just stay out of your bullshit. I let you self-destruct, fuck nigga. Talking that stupid shit you've been talking for years. But this bitch nigga has been taking little shots. I remember he did one lecture. I think it was down in Miami. He was like, yeah, I know Tariq is going to give some money to the Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass School. As much money I done made him. And then he just got on the live Ustream talking about he done made Hidden Colors hot. That's that shit. Sabir Bey was talking that. Them niggas from North Philly, is that like a North Philly thing? And I love Philly. I got a lot of love for Philly. And Philly done ran that nigga about it. I heard niggas in Philly on the streets don't fuck with that nigga. Niggas in the street. Now, I donated money to this non-existent fucking school. I donated some money to the school. I've been trying to help this motherfucker for years, and he didn't act like he did us a favor. He's acting like he did me a favor. I made your movie hot. I made the Hidden Color series hot. Bitch nigga, Umar, you've been in a whole bunch of fucking documentaries. None of them have popped off, fuck nigga. Are you listening, fat fuck ass nigga? None of them have popped off except mine. What are you talking about, nigga? You've been in a bunch of fucking films and nobody never heard of them except mine. How you help me? You done a bunch of shit that don't pop off. How have you helped me? I got 2 movies now that's on the #1 spot. You ain't in them. How you help me? Fuck is you talking about? Is this nigga on the narcotic? You sound like a fat hoe. Your name is in my mouth. What you gonna do? Fuck all that. We can get in the boxing ring. We gonna fight. Stop tweeting and come fight. Stop all the Twitter banging, nigga, and come see me. What the fuck you talking about, nigga? I'm with the shits. Get off the internet and come see me. You know where I am, hoe ass nigga. I'm not nowhere I'm not like you. I'm not in little random Motel 6s and shit like that, sucking my own dick, talking about how I'm the best. Ain't nobody better than me. I'm Papa. Nigga running around talking about he Papa. Get the fuck out of here, corny nigga. You sound like a motherfucking idiot, nigga. You can come see me. I'm at my office every day in Chatsworth. I'm not that hard to find. If you want to come see me, bitch nigga, you come see me and get off the fucking internet. We can do this. I'm the best. I'll get you. Get me, nigga. Come get me, Umar Johnson.
Okay. So y'all get the point. Now, here's Umar Johnson, what he's talking about. And then I'm going to go back to, of course, I'm going to go with the elder in the end because he's going to smooth it out a little bit better.
money with the money you make to finance the follow-up video. And then you can't manage to save enough money from this video to finance the next video. You mean to tell me that you making black people pay for the production, but yet they don't reap any of the financial rewards? You put all that shit in your pocket, and then you post up a $500 money order that you sent to some daycare center and shit like that's some sort of charity. How the hell is a $500 money order charity for a dude who's getting tens of thousands to do a documentary and not using none of that revenue to build a single institution? Now I know when you do your response, you're going to have the institution now. You ain't got no choice, because I'm outing your ass. I promise y'all, Tariq and Nasheed going to tell y'all he working on something now, because the jig is up. I never spoke on you. I don't know how you feed your family. That's none of my business. If the people want to give you money to make your documentaries so you can live off of them, I don't have a problem with that, bruh. But what you speaking on me for? You pimping the hood, but that ain't none of my business. What you speaking on me for? You exploiting people's thirst for knowledge, but that ain't none of my business. What you speaking on me for? And then a minute ago, what did I say? I said, you say you against white supremacy, but you love white supremacy. You know why I say that, Nasheed? You little bitch. You know why I say that? Because when you interviewed me for Hidden Colors 2 at my Moorish Elders bookstore on Lehigh Avenue, for all of you who saw Hidden Colors 2, I was interviewed in my Moorish Elders bookstore. Shout out to Baba Peace and Baba Jack. Tariq Nasheed showed up in Philadelphia with an all-white production team. I don't remember a single brother on that team. You showed up in North Philly with an all-white production team. And then when you interviewed me, Hidden Colors 3, Los Angeles, when I got to the studio where you were to interview me, the very interview where I decided I wasn't fucking with you no more, you had an all-white team to produce it again. Now, in fairness and clarity, when you interviewed me for Hidden Colors 1, the day I met your trifling ass, you had a brother do that. Hidden Colors 1, it was a brother. But once you started making money off the people's money, once your pimping ass, Mac Daddy Mo, started making money off the people's money, you decided I don't need no more black folks. Now you might got a couple somewhere in your network. I ain't talking about the movers and shakers that help you edit and film and finalize your documentary are crackers. They are white people. They are white people. Now Hidden Colors 4, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it was the same team. You can tell. So here's the question you got to answer. And I shouldn't even be speaking on this, but you spoke on me. So since we want to speak on people, let me speak on your corny ass. Bitch. If you are against white supremacy, why are you using black people's money to pay white people to make a documentary about white supremacy for black people? I need an answer. I need an answer. I need an answer. I'm going to say it again in case you didn't understand me. Why is a man who claims to be against white supremacy taking money from black people, giving it to white people to help him make a film about white supremacy for black people? Let me say it one more time, because I don't think you... Let me say this again. Listen to me, Tariq. You raise money. Black people give you the money for Hidden Colors. You take black people's money and you give it to white people to produce your documentary about white people financial beneficiary. That's your hustle. But who benefits besides you? You're the number one beneficiary of Hidden Colors. But who benefits from Hidden Colors besides Tariq Nasheed? Let me tell you who. Black people don't. Black people don't benefit from Hidden Colors financially. They might benefit culturally and intellectually, but they don't benefit financially. You know who benefits financially from Hidden Colors? White folks, because that's who you give black people's money to make the film. God is my witness. You are a contradiction. You paying white people to make a white supremacy documentary that you sell to black people. You paying white people to make a white supremacy documentary that you sell to black people. You paying white people to make a white supremacy documentary that you pay to black folks. That you sell.
Now that's from More Info TV, and I actually wanted to start it off a little bit further back so he can give his point on why he was going off and all that type of stuff, and then I'm ready to go back to Boyce Watkins after this one. We're gonna check out the at the Realest One YouTube channel. I'm gonna start off a little further back.
Enough about it. I'm not for the man, I'm not against him. I'm not for him, I'm not against him. If he stole the money, charge it to the game. That's what happens. I'm a player. If Umar stole the money, I'm paraphrasing, y'all go watch the video on your own, charge it to the game. Here we go again, subliminal suggestion. Subliminal suggestion. If he stole it. Fuck you mean if, you corny ass dude? If he stole it, charge it to the game. Do y'all see that? Subliminal subject. If, first of all, because of what I've done for you, made your product a household name. We're going to get into that in a minute. Out of respect for what I've done for you, you should have said, you know what? The doc ain't feeling me. I'm not feeling the doc. He went his own way after Hidden Colors 3. Cool. Publicly, he ain't threw me under the bus. I'ma respect him. I'm not going to address him at all. And let me be clear. I do not feel that you were supposed to defend me because of what I did for the Hidden Colors brand. I believe you have a right to your opinion. For whatever reason, you...
Okay, I guess we see right there he's talking about that Tariq Nasheed jumped on the bandwagon, talking about, where's the money at, for the school. That might be a reason why he jumped out. Let's go back to Dr. Boyce Watkins, and what I'll do in the end, maybe I'll go back to this one, let this one play out just to end off the video. But let's go back to Boyce Watkins, because he's going to do, it seems like he's about to do a better job of putting this whole story together. He knows both of the guys, in particular Tariq Nasheed and Dr. Umar Johnson, and he's going to give us a more non-emotional feel take on everything. Let's go back here, and remember right here I stopped where he was trying to play the video.
I am messing up. So let me see here. Let me try this button here. See what happens. Any of this, if you're on Instagram, it's going to go out in a second. I'm going to bring you guys right back. So just stay on the line. I'll bring you right back. I don't think that Tariq was looking for trouble. I think that Tariq showed a lot more discipline than most of us could have shown. It makes me think about my friend who was being molested by her uncle. And for the longest time, she had relatives who said, family sticks together. Families don't they don't send each other to the police. They don't snitch on each other. They don't hurt each other. And so she basically, in order to avoid attacking her relative, she kind of let it kind of happen. She didn't say anything about the molestation for years. And then what happened was one day, she basically just kind of went off. Now I hit another button. I'm being dumb today, but can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me on Facebook, because I hit another button. I think I might have killed my audio. So let me know if you can hear me. Okay, I see you guys on Instagram said you can hear me. I think that's good. Okay, I'm gonna let it takes a second for the Facebook feed to kind of go. Okay, I see yes. Okay, I see yes. All right, good. Thank you. I'm glad you guys can hear me. Yeah. So the thing about it, I think that rather than kind of dwelling on what specifics came up in terms of what Tariq said about Umar, I think it's probably better to kind of really talk about sort of an agreed upon framework for kind of what Black unity looks like. Black unity cannot and does not and should not look like everybody agreeing. Black unity also cannot and should not look like everybody being afraid to, to speak their mind, or to tell the truth about somebody who is breaking code by being disrespectful. I mean, if you're going to say, it's like the little kid fighting. If you're going to tell me I broke code by punching that motherfucker in the face, then you need to talk to him about breaking code by picking on me in the first place. If you talk about code, what code was there that that Tariq put Umar in Hidden Colors 4, boosted up his career, or Hidden Colors 1, 2, and 3, or whichever one, or 1 and 2 at least, and it boosted up his career, looked out for him, covered for him in multiple occasions, defended him on various scenarios, gave money to a school which does not exist, and did all these things to have his back. Yet at the same time, he's still getting this negative energy from this guy. So to me, if there's a code, then the code should have been met in the beginning. If somebody breaks code, then you can break code too. Even Confucius said that. Confucius, the ancient Chinese philosopher, he spoke highly about the importance of honoring your mother and your father. But basically, Confucius said, if your mother and father do not carry themselves as honorable people, then you don't owe them shit. Then fuck them. Like literally, they broke the code. You can break the code too. And so, because the thing is, at that point, when you start breaking code, that means you're not trying to be a part of the system that lives by the code. If I'm going and I'm just sort of attacking and being nasty toward every other Black person that's supposedly part of the community I'm supposed to be a part of, and I'm saying we're all gonna build together, but yet I'm saying I'm King Kong consciousness and I'm the most requested scholar and I'm the greatest and I'm the best and Big Papa and all this other stupid shit, then I'm kind of breaking code right there by not even being humble enough to acknowledge the fact that I'm not the only person out here doing this stuff. And one thing I have to agree with Tariq on in this video is he was talking about this idea, like bragging about how often you're going out speaking and how important it is that you're being requested to speak. And the truth of the matter is that I don't know about Tariq, but I don't speak that much, not because I don't get requested. I get requested every day. I don't speak because I'm running my business. I'm speaking to my team members trying to run an organization that employs Black people. That's what you do when you grow up. At first you start off and you're trying to go get speeches, and because it's an ego booster. Like, look at me. I was requested to speak here and I'm on the road. Then you eventually get tired of that shit. You don't want to be on the road. People ask me, they say, hey, Dr. Watkins, we'd like for you to come and speak. And I'm like, I'm so tired. How about I just do something on the internet and you can use the video? I did, when I was in Guyana, I did a speaking engagement in Philly. The budget wasn't there. I said, don't worry about it. Just bring me in through Zoom, through Skype, Zoom, whatever, and I'll just talk that way. That way I ain't got to go get on a plane and y'all ain't got to go spend a whole bunch of money flying me across the world. So ultimately, I just, I think that you got to pay attention to kind of what's being said. I think that where the Cal State Long Beach students were probably hurt and disappointed, the same way, you get upset. Like if you see, like I know somebody who here you go, I'll give you a good example. I knew somebody who was married to a really shitty man. He treated her like crap. Every ounce of generosity she had as a woman, he exploited that. She would give him love. He gave her hate. When he gave her hate, she would just give him more love. He would just double up on the hate. So he abused her emotionally, physically, otherwise neglected her, mistreated her in every way imaginable. And finally, she just said, she started realizing she lived by a code. Her code was, whoever you marry, that's who you stay married to. A weak woman is the woman who divorces her husband. Well, finally, somebody convinced her, like, you don't have to live like this forever. So she went ahead and said, well, wait, since he's violating the code, then there is no code. There is no institution anymore. There is no structure in this marriage because he doesn't respect the structure of the marriage. He doesn't respect the code. So I can't stay on code with somebody who don't want to stay on code. I can't play basketball with you if you're trying to play tennis, hockey, and cricket. Like, what the fuck? How the hell am I going to play basketball with somebody who's bringing a football to the basketball court? Like, what? Somebody's like, well, you're supposed to play basketball no matter what. How the fuck am I going to play basketball with you when you're playing football? It takes two to tango. We got to be playing the same game. If we're both going to be strategic, let's both be strategic. Or whatever. But sometimes people, you try to be strategic, you try to elevate your thinking, and then you realize you're dealing with somebody who is really incarcerated in the most nigga-like thinking that you could ever imagine. So you're like, shit. Sometimes the only way to deal with a nigga is to be a nigga. And you don't want to be a nigga, so you might say, look, nigga, back up off of me, or I'm going to fuck you up. Like, that's what happens. Like, it comes out of you. So what do you do? What do you do? You know, especially if you're seeing the person with this nigga-like thinking hurting the people that you love. They are hurting the people that you care about. You know, you care about the community, or like, again, like, so this woman, that's what she went through. She's trying to be a loving, wonderful wife. Her husband's trying to be a bastard. And his bastard behavior was rubbing off on the children. Her son turned into a bastard because he's watching his daddy disrespect his mama every day. You know, the girls are growing up thinking that I'm supposed to marry a bastard because my daddy's a bastard. Look at him. He cussed my mama out. And I guess that's what a man does. A man, if he don't like the way you cook the chicken, he's supposed to cuss you out. So she went in and did what was best for her kids. She got a divorce. She broke the code, so to speak. She didn't really speak ill of him, but she did part ways, and she had to announce publicly that she's getting a divorce. And the first thing people said was, what's wrong? Why would you divorce? You know, Mom, why would you divorce Daddy? Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Well, because he broke the code. You know, and you can look at your parents and say, oh, I'm so upset and I'm so disappointed. Y'all can't get along. But if one parent is constantly breaking the code, then eventually a divorce will occur, and it's going to be public. So ultimately, I can tell you that bromance, if you want to call it that friendship that Tariq and Umar had, my impression was that it was really, 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 really strong. You know, very strong. Tariq is a person who believes in codes. He's a person that lives by rules and principles and stuff like that, whether you're talking about, you know, the old days, those codes, you know, y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go into that. Or you're talking about now. When I do business with Tariq, Tariq does business as a man. If Tariq says he's going to do something, he follows through. If it's time to have a business meeting, he talks business. Tariq, and Umar were all invited to speak at Cal State Long Beach. And we all got there. And those students, I love those wonderful students. I went to the green. I got there. They said, Tariq Nasheed's in the green room. I said, okay, well, take me back there. I haven't seen my brother in a while. I'm going to go talk to my brother. And I knew Umar was coming. I wasn't scared to sit down and talk to Umar. I said, okay, well, when he comes in, if he comes in the green room, it'll be awkward for about 30 seconds, but I'm not going to participate in any of that awkwardness. I'm going to walk up and say, hey, let's just have a talk. Let's just see if we can see eye to eye. Here's what happened. So I go and I talk to Tariq. Me and Tariq chop it up, you know, shake hands. I tell him what we got going on in the Black Business School. He says, you know, he wants to come in and give a lecture. I said, well, absolutely. I insist on paying you your fee, you know, because I respect him as a businessman. So I got him to come in because again, he and Rick Mathis are two of the best independent Black filmmakers I know. There are others out there, but these are the two I spoke with first. And I'm bringing those guys in because I want everybody to learn game from these guys who've been able to build something on their own. Here's what went down as far as Umar. Umar comes in, and I see people lined up to get their book signed. I see his book set up, his table set up. And I'm like, well, where's Umar? I mean, he's big as hell. Like, you can't miss him. And they said, well, he's upstairs on the 3rd floor. I said, well, why is he on the 3rd floor? We down here. He didn't want to come downstairs. He didn't want to engage. You know, and so I don't really know. You know, I don't really know how you can expect Tariq to remain patient in that kind of situation. I don't think, I mean, how much more, and here's the other thing too. How much does the community benefit when we're seeing all of this behavior behind the scenes, some of which is very harmful to Black people, and we don't say shit because we try to stay on code? Like he's doing this to women, but we gonna stay on code. Oh, he did this. He took the people's money, and he gonna keep on taking it. Oh, but we gonna stay on code. We gonna endorse this school that ain't never gonna happen because we gonna stay on code. You know? Do you know why cops can murder black men and not even get indicted? Do you understand why cops never go to prison for shooting black men, even if it's in broad daylight on video? Because all the officers agree. We gonna stay on code. We don't want to get off code. We get off code, then it's going to bring down the blue wall. That's what they call the blue wall. That's why they operate like a fucking street gang, because they all trying to stay on code. There ain't nothing worse in the world than to be seen as a cop who was a snitch. That can not only lead to you being ostracized by the other cops to where you can't even go to work every day, but it's going to lead to you getting fired or getting killed. So that's what you're expecting cops to violate their code, to violate the blue wall where they risk being hated by their best friends, being made fun of, being fired, and maybe even shot on duty. You're expecting them to risk all of that, but you mad because Tariq Nasheed, after 2 years of staying on code, finally let Umar Johnson know how he really feels. Finally let people know what the hell's been going on. Don't expect him to stay on the code that you can't, don't expect him to stay on the code that you expect officers to violate. If he's expected to never violate this code, then why would you get angry when an officer refuses to violate their code? At the end of the day, you must understand that codes ain't always beneficial. Sometimes codes hide the truth. Sometimes codes, the Catholic Church got away with molesting thousands of children because everybody was staying on the fucking code. Y'all need to let go of that shit. The only code that the black community needs to think about is the code that says that the black community must come first. That's the only code that matters. The code is bigger than oh, we must all protect Boyce, Watkins no matter what. No, that ain't the code. The code must be like, no black leaders can ever speak negatively on another so-called black leader. No, that's not the code either. The code is not, oh, well, I'm never going to speak ill on another black man. No. Some motherfuckers are stupid and they need to get spoke about. They need to get dealt with. I'm not talking about Umar right now. I'm just saying to you in general, you can't, codes are what hide corruption. Codes are what lead to crime and molestation and all kinds of victimization that you never know anything about because everybody trying to stay on code. I knew a little boy who got molested by his uncle, and he told his mother and his grandmother smacked him and said, "You a motherfucking liar." A 9-year-old, how the hell you gonna accuse a 9-year-old boy of lying when he graphically explained how your son just fucked him in the ass? Well, because she's staying on code and she don't want her son to go to prison. Man, fuck a code sometimes. Don't get me wrong. Not every code is bad. Some codes are good. Codes are only as good as the individuals who are involved in the system that is designed to acknowledge that code. When you put a poisonous entity inside the code, inside the system, then that makes the code more destructive than it is constructive. That's why the European Union broke apart, because Greece was part of the European Union. They were all trying to stay on economic code. They had, pretty much seamless borders and easy trade, and they shared a similar currency, but Greece wasn't staying on code. Greece had a really fucked up economy, and Greece refused to show any sort of fiscal discipline. So eventually the British people were like, man, why are we trying to stay on code when this motherfucker over here is exploiting the community? They're ruining everything that we're trying to build. It's like you get together. It's like having your family get together and y'all create a family fund where y'all like, let's save up. Let's all build businesses. Let's do something great together. And you got one cousin who's coming in, taking the money and going to buy crack with it. He's breaking the code. So you can't just sort of say, well, I'm going to stay on code and keep putting money in and giving him money so he can go spend money on crack. No, you get together as a family and you extract that son of a bitch. You say, if you can't respect the code, if you can't respect what we're trying to do, then you don't need to be here. Go find another community to violate and to exploit. You can't do that here. And if you don't think that Umar has been exploiting people with that whole thing with the school, and then turn around and blaming black people because they're questioning his license, blaming black people because they shut down his accounts, blaming black people because he's got all these other problems, then if you can't see where that's an issue and where that is an extreme amount of exploitation and really just kind of dastardly, sick, undisciplined, irresponsible behavior, then I don't know what to say to you. I don't know what to say. You know, I'll keep going deeper. When I think about the calls I've gotten over Umar over the years, you know, the calls consisted of prominent, respected people that you guys know about. I can say their names and you know exactly who I was talking about, who called and said, I don't understand what's going on. I tried my best to be nice to that guy and he hung up on me. Or I wanted to have a 20-minute conversation with him, and he told me he wasn't even going to talk to me unless I paid him some money. Or I'm not, or this guy, you know, so it's come from prominent, so-called prominent leaders, if you want to call them that. Also, community activists. I'm talking about people that rode with him hard. I'm talking about people who run communities in the RGB space, RBG space, that literally, where they literally have hundreds of thousands of people at their back, like people that have been ride or die in that space, who are as conscious as you can get, who literally have said, yeah, man, I used to really ride with that dude, but I don't know what's going on with him. You know, he was on the radio saying he ain't going to do no more of these cheap speaking engagements and that people are taking advantage of him and that he's not going to let them get him for so much money. They need to pay up because he's the most respected, blah, 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 blah. And I'm talking about people that were really hardcore supporters, like people that paid him when nobody knew who he was. That's the funny thing. When you have people that hooked you up and took care of you when nobody knew who you were, and then you become somebody and you act like those people don't exist. You know, look at some of his own daddy. His own daddy is like making videos saying, son, his daddy's like, son, his daddy's not even being mean. His daddy's not, Tariq, you see, Tariq's not your daddy, right? So Tariq is going to just let you have it. But his daddy's like, son, I'm concerned about you. You know, I just want everybody to know, you know, I don't hate my son. I just am concerned about what's going on. I'm not his enemy, blah, blah, blah. So at the end of the day, what you're hearing consistently is people repeatedly saying, look, I'm not your enemy. Look, I'm not your enemy. Like, why are you talking? I'm not your enemy. When you keep hearing that, what you're really seeing is the effects of a person that suffers from an extreme amount of paranoia, who has decided that the whole world is his enemy. And if you don't believe me, go look at his social media pages. Go look at his Facebook page. Go look at his Instagram. And you're going to see nothing but reflections of paranoia, as well as a lack of accountability. Like, I am going through this because the coons in the black community did this to me. Or I'm going through this because you trifling black people did that to me. It started, remember when I think he raised $200,000 or $300,000, and he literally did a speech and said, I'm grateful for the money, but it's not enough. And then he said, trifling ass black people. Like, basically said black people were trifling because they just gave him $200,000 or $300,000. And so I just kind of think, I felt like it was important to kind of just, again, give the truth. I don't know how that's going to make people feel about anything or about me. I just want people to also know black unity is alive and well. Literally, people are quite unified in the fact that they all think that something ain't right on the Umar Johnson side of town. Everybody I talk to, and I talk to a lot of people, and because I build with a lot of people, the unity is there. The unity is, we don't need this shit. The unity is, we need to do better. The unity is, why is he doing this? Like, what is going on? Like, that's where your unity, that's your black unity. You have black unity in a major way. You just don't have unity that includes that one particular person who has decided somehow that he's better than everybody else. That's what you don't have. But unity is alive. It is well. Tariq is building King Flex Entertainment. He's putting out these blockbuster movies. Millions of people are supporting these movies all around the globe. Our organization, Boyce, Watkins Enterprises, is growing by leaps and bounds. We're taking the lead on everything from financial education to all kinds of other stuff that I won't even go into because there's so much stuff kind of going on. You got people like you got the Cynthia G's doing her thing, Zaza Ali. I talk to Zaza and Cynthia on a regular basis because I think that we need to make sure that black women are included in all of the relevant conversations that involve the community. We should be ashamed as men that everything revolves around the men. The ladies have something to say too, and I really encourage Zaza to use her beautiful, articulate voice to speak on this in her own way. You know, but I think it's unfortunate because what happens is when women speak, the men come in and they're much, much harsher on the women than we are on the men. And I think men, real men out here, need to stand up for that. You know, if you see a man going in on a woman in a way that's not fair, don't be no bitch. Don't be like those little bitchy ass men sitting there holding the cell phone camera while a woman's getting her ass beat. No, you put the camera down and you say, hey, brother, no, you're not going to do that on my watch. You don't do that. You can be upset with this woman if you want to. You can disagree with this woman if you want to. But if you hit this woman again, if you attack her again, I'm going to take matters into my own hands. And the same thing is true when it comes to digital bullying. A lot of women get digitally bullied. That's why a lot of them, I think, are uncomfortable speaking publicly. But I would just like to see more people speak publicly. Like, so when people get on the phone with me and they will go on for a while. I mean, I had a couple of calls even in Guyana from people, respected people who have big platforms, and they talk for a very long time. And I was like, well, okay, well, say something. Get out there and say something so that people don't get a misinterpretation and think that it's just Tariq versus Umar or Tariq or Boyce versus versus Umar or whatever. No, it ain't like that. It's kind of different from what you might think. And that's all I just want to say. I felt compelled to say this because I know Tariq is going to get heat for doing that video. I think that it was the right thing to do. Now, you know, Tariq has his own style. You know, he does things in his own way. Would I have said everything the exact same way? Probably not, because he's him, I'm me, we're different. But at the same time, when I saw that, I just said, you know, black men got to stick together. That's your black unity. I said, you know, I'm going to just stick, you know, support him just by telling the truth. Not even, and the thing is, it wasn't like I had to be biased in favor of Tariq. I don't even know, I mean, I didn't really know a lot about either one of these dudes when I first met both of them. I just know that one guy was professional and gracious. The other guy came off like a dick, you know, and so it's like, it's the same thing. I met Jay Morrison, professional and gracious, you know, a lot of David Banner, professional and gracious. Like, it's like, that's the theme. Rock Newman, professional and gracious. You go down the list and it's like, you get to this one space and you get this whole different energy and you're like, what is happening here? Like, is this cool? Like, is this what black people are into now? Am I out of style? Like, are we into like the arrogant fuckboy shit now? Like, is that kind of what people like? Like, what's going on? I mean, I don't understand. It was, again, like when little boys didn't know 50 times 3, the story I told you guys in the beginning. Like, I felt like, again, I was in the Twilight Zone because I was like, I don't understand this. And then think about this. I mean, when you consider the fact that when you go to Philly, I mean, if a city is your city, you should be getting mad, insane love in that city. Tariq made a good point. I didn't get the impression that Umar gets a lot of love in Philadelphia. I don't see that. You know, I'll be there and I'll be like, oh yeah, but this is Umar said, this is your guy, right? And they'll be like, oh no, that ain't our guy. No. You know, and I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm not even really from Chicago, but I get love in Chicago. I love Chicago. I rep it. You know, we're gonna have an office here. Like, I respect the people here. I do everything I can to be supportive. And I get a lot of love in Chicago because that's your city. You're supposed to get love in your home city. Tariq gets love in LA because that's where he lives. When people where you live don't love you, then again, that's another telltale sign that something ain't quite balanced. Something ain't quite right in Bethlehem. You know, just, all right, okay, so I'm gonna quit talking. Now, I just want you guys to know this. For those of you who are probably still confused by this, some of y'all don't even know what was going on. Y'all probably just like, why is Boyce ranting about this? He's supposed to talk about Bitcoin or something. I'm going to say that now the bitchy petty part of that discussion is over. I'm kind of done talking about it. I felt my spirit told me I had to speak on it because it matters to a lot of people that I care about. And I kind of feel that the truth sets you free. I feel that the truth is a natural disinfectant for the fungus of corruption, right? The truth shines light. It's like a mushroom is a fungus. If you keep it in a dark, wet space, then it's going to flourish. But if you shine the light on that mushroom or on that fungus, the fungus will die. Funguses don't last, don't exist in the sunlight. So my goal was to just say to people publicly, like, there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes that I've seen that most people don't get to hear. that it says to me that it's not quite what people make it out to be. Now, with that said, one thing I want to do to try to help repair some of this and to make it a little more digestible for those who are listening is, and I want you guys to pay attention. Please share this with other people. I want to get to the core of the problem. Like, I want to help solve a problem so that we can at least make sure that in the middle of all this, whatever this is, that we can be constructive in terms of moving forward. So, you know, one of the things I told you guys, I'd already sort of brought Tariq into the Black Business School to kind of do Q&As with our students on how to build a film empire. So everybody's invited. If you want to go join the Black Business School, you can go sign up for free right now. I'm going to make it open to anybody who's part of the school, even if you're not even in a paid program. If you're in there as a free student, you'll be invited to the first couple of Q&As. And then I'm going to integrate him into one of the curricula, right? So, and it's not free. I'm paying his fee because I respect another Black man's business and I want him to be compensated for what he's doing. And so go to theblackbusinessschool.com to sign up if you want to be there, theblackbusinessschool.com. Second thing I want to let you guys know that I want to do, because I told my brother about it, and I said, you know, I don't want to be, you know, childish, and I certainly don't want to be destructive, and I want to make sure we are productive, constructive, and we're moving forward and we're solving problems. One of the key issues that has consistently come up is the issue with this whole thing with the school. I'm with Tariq and everybody else who pretty much believes that there will be no school. There is no school coming, you know, unless there's a miracle act of God and somehow maybe this becomes a come to Jesus moment for Umar and he gets the help that he needs and he goes and actually takes some of that money and builds a school. It doesn't cost that much to build a school. There are people that are on you know, that are subscribed to us who have schools. They've started their schools with $25,000. They started the schools with 50 grand. They started the schools with money off the credit card. And so what I said was to my brother, I said, you know, what we could do is, I said, we should, somebody said, shut the fuck up and prove it, Boyce. That's right. I'm about to shut the fuck up and prove it. I said, let's put our money where our mouth is. So what I want to announce to you guys right now is anybody you know that has an African-centered school, my goal is to support schools that are already in existence, as opposed to us all sort of sitting around and living off a hope and a prayer of some school that may or may not exist that costs $1 trillion to build. Let's support those little $30, $40, $50,000 schools that are already out there. You know, let's find ways to raise money so that these schools can grow and evolve. And I talked to Jay Morrison about it today, kind of man to man. Jay's a real balanced, measured person, an extraordinary leader. And one of the things that we discussed were avenues to help the community raise funds for businesses, for schools, for things that they want to do. And I'm going to announce more of that later as we sort of iron out those details. But one of the things I'm willing to do is I will write a check. I will write a $5,000 check to someone who runs an African-centered school that can use an extra $5,000 to pay a few bills. I wish it could be a bigger check, and eventually I will write bigger checks once we raise more money and we set a more structure here. But for now, if you email, you can send your information over to staff@boycewatkins.com. That's staff@boycewatkins.com. If you send it to staff@boycewatkins.com, I have my assistant. She's checking those emails. Send information about your school. If you want, you can even send a link to a video about your school. Some information, you know, just, you know, nothing too complex, but some bullet points, where your school's located, how many students you have, you know, just some things that, you know, some financial information if you want to kind of let us know what you would do with the money. And we will pick a school. And I really want to see if I can do this every month or every quarter. Literally, I will write a check. My name will be on that check, and I will write a $5,000 check to an African-centered school to show you that I want to do more building than destroying, because I can understand how all of this was probably a little bit concerning for some people. Because at the end of the day, the number one goal is to make sure our children are being educated. That's it. You know, we got to make sure our children are educated. And if you remember the Black Core of 3, the Black Core of 3 is that we must educate our own children, we must create our own jobs, and we must support Black businesses. So this is my small part, to my small gesture to say, and I will show you guys when I send the check. And also, if you don't get a check, here's the other thing too. So don't think of it like a lottery, like maybe you won't get the grant or whatever. But if you don't get the check and you have a school and it's solid, like, again, I need real schools. I can't We can't really be promoting schools that don't exist yet, because you have a community that has been lied to so many times and gotten pimped really by people promising and fantasizing and selling you a dream that ain't real, selling you some stuff that ain't never gonna happen. So I need people that are really doing the work. Show me some pictures of the babies in the school learning. Show me video of the rooms in the buildings. There was one school in Atlanta I visited. I don't remember the name of that school, but that's going to be a school that I want to help. So if you don't get the money, that's okay. I can still help you out. We've actually got interviewers now that we've just brought in to interview people on my YouTube channel, which has about 250,000 Black subscribers. So it's a very high quality audience. It's not just 250,000 random people. They're mostly Black. I get more exposure to the Black community on my YouTube channel than I get when I go on CNN. That's why you don't see me on CNN as much, because I don't really need any of that stuff anymore. We have our own media. So what I can do is have you interviewed about your school. You can tell the world about your school. And if you have a link where people can make donations to your school, I encourage everybody who donated to Umar's school, donate to some of these other schools too. Fine. Okay, you wrote a check to Umar for $50.
I'm going to end it there. Now, I like the way he summed it up. He gave you a good backdrop of what was going on. I know this is long, but, for those that really, really want to dig deep, you can go ahead and hear all of the interviews and the rants and everything, and somebody summed it all up all in one source. That's all I wanted to do, was bring it all together so you don't have to spend the whole day clicking on a lot of different videos. I wanted to put all of this together for you, but as you see, he has a very good holistic way of pulling things together and supporting schools. And as you see, that topic of that school not coming through was very big, because everybody wanted to know what the money was, was going. Even though I believe when you do the GoFundMe's and stuff like that, you don't get the money unless the goal is met. So I think the money should have been safe in other different avenues that he set up. If he wouldn't be able to go into it on his own company, the company or something, have to go into it, something like that. But there's a whole lot to it. Then what I'll do, I'll end it off for those who just want to stomach it. I'll end off with the whole rant from Umar Johnson. But once again, this is Lorenzo McCoy. Just wanted to add this little video before I go into the new year, mainly doing a lot of positive videos. Tomorrow starts the day where Juanita Bynum's Back to Vegan is supposed to start. I don't think I got anything in the email yet. I have to check to see if I have anything from it. But either way, I'll be starting on my own, because that's just the way I am. It's going to start no matter what. Also, my daily affirmations start tomorrow. I went and picked up from Five and Below this nice little calendar. The calendar that has a nice saying for the day, but I'm going to use that to jumpstart different daily videos also. Once again, this has been Lorenzo McCoy, and I'll end it off with Umar Johnson's whole rant right here. And once again, that last one is from Boyce Watkins' channel itself, Your Black World, and it's titled Tariq, Nasheed, Umar Johnson, Black Unity and Life. That was that one. This is me and Dr. Umar Johnson when he came to Chicago earlier this year. And I played for you just a little bit of the Tariq Nasheed's rant right there. It's on my Facebook. On Facebook, on somebody's page called Black Knowledge. I believe he put it up in the John Henry Clark group that I'm a part of. So that's that one here. We've done that one, and I'm going to end off with Umar Johnson here. And then I'll end it once this just plays out.
Tomorrow, Shrine of the Black Madonna. To be clarified, there's a lot that must be explicated.
And once again, this YouTube channel is at the realest one. So everything, I'm sorry, at the real ISIS one. Whenever I showcase somebody else's channel, I like for you to, go check them out and subscribe. I don't like to use people's information and their hard work without giving them that proper credit. All right, once again, press play and I'm out.
A lot that must be confirmed, a lot that must be understood overstood, and understood. It will be a concert from 3 until 5 in the sanctuary. 12 until 5, you have the Ma'at Academy in the vendor market. But I will begin my message. All children 17 and younger are free. Glad to see the brothers and sisters made it through that, most of us. I understand that you're still grappling with the aftershock of that storm, and I want you all to know that Dr. Umar. So tonight is not going to be unsophisticated as I was last year when I had to do the same thing. See, being who I am and understanding what I am and knowing where I am, I recognize that I must allow people to express their opinions about me, their criticisms about me, good or bad. There must be room for that whenever you go before the public, especially a group of people as self-hating as we are. You must allow room for people to express themselves. That's why I never, ever criticize or seek to King Kong anybody for expressing negative opinions about me the first couple times that they do it. Once it becomes repetitious, once it has been made clear that this is not an occasional occurrence, that this brother or sister isn't making a video or offering comments on their platform occasionally, this seems to be a regular thing. Whether they do it once in a while, like a Tariq Nasheed, or whether they do it on a regular basis as if they have some sort of homosexual attraction, like a Sister Joyce Watkins, then I become obligated to respond, because now it is not an occasional offering of your opinion. But this is now a situation where you feel comfortable enough of speaking publicly on someone else's situation. That is none of your business. Let me say this again. I'm making this statement tonight in respectable form for my supporters, young and old, to be crystal clear that if I do not mess with you, keep my name out of your mouth. I never mentioned Tariq Nasheed's name. He's not important to me. There's nothing he's doing that I consider to be of critical importance for me and my work. I understand he's into edutainment. I understand he's a conscious journalist. I understand he gives his opinions on black issues. And for some people, that's important, and it's not for me to say yay or nay. I don't speak on that brother. You've never heard me speak publicly against that brother. It's none of my business. He's not relevant. Boyce Watkins, another one. He's not relevant. But what I want to do tonight is I want to briefly just make sure people understand. And what you see me do right now is just getting rid of people who aren't here because they want to understand the clarity. They are here for other reasons, and that's all right too. Everyone has a place. And so, brothers and sisters, I want to do a history. I want to do a history on both of these gentlemen so so you guys understand where I'm coming from. And what I would also say, brothers and sisters, and I'm going to turn off the commenting for a while. And the reason I'm going to turn off the commenting, because the other day it finally occurred to me that people make comments that have no basis in fact, no relevance, and that does not reflect any experience that they've had with Dr. Umar Johnson. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. There was a brother who made a post on one of my live videos the other day. And as you all know, I've been using Twitter and Instagram for the past couple of weeks, or past week, since Facebook suspended me for 30 days. I've never posted a Twitter video or an Instagram video until a couple of days ago. And to be honest with you, I kind of like it because it forces me to synthesize my thoughts into 60 seconds. It's very good oratorical practice for the world's greatest orator. And let me also clarify that this video is for Tariq. Clear. I don't seek to lose those who support me. And I don't seek to disappoint those who support me, young or old. So any video that I make is either for supporters and or general members of the community. It is not for haters, distractors, or detractors. And because this video is for Dr. Umar Johnson's haters, but more importantly, supporters. And by haters, the two gentlemen who I'm going to discuss, but it's for the benefit of those who support my work, for the benefit of those who have been donating to the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. It's for their benefit. I like to keep my followership informed. I have an international followership across 6 continents. And it is important that they know what's going on. And now that I know I can turn off comments in in Instagram, which I did not know before, I want my supporters to know that if you have a comment, text it. If you have a comment, inbox it. If you have a comment, WhatsApp it. If you have a comment, feel free to email it, brothers and sisters. Since my supporters can reach me directly, there's no need for a comment chain during my videos. There's not even a need for a comment chain during my posts. So one of my New Year's resolutions is to shut down the opportunity for coons, crooks, imbeciles, and other detractors to offer an opinion or comment on my platform. It is a privilege to comment on my platform. And since I cannot control who comments on my platform, I'll just turn it off because all of my supporters can reach me directly. I'm saying that because I don't want my supporters thinking that Doc is no longer allowing us to speak to him. Not true. You have my phone number. And I want to thank all the brothers and sisters over the past week. I've gotten tens of thousands of emails, tens of thousands of texts. I've tried to respond to every one. If I accidentally overlooked your text, please forgive me. I want to thank my brothers and sisters in Africa for sending their support with the upcoming hearing that I have to face before the State Board of Psychology. I want to thank my brothers and sisters from across Europe, my brothers and sisters from the Caribbean, my brothers and sisters from Canada, Central South America, Australia. I don't think there's a country, or should I say a continent, that I haven't heard from yet. So I want to thank you all for that. I want to thank the brothers and sisters who are coming out to Harrisburg to support me at that hearing on Monday, January the 8th. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To my donors, thank you, thank you, thank you. Before I make my comments, let me say that another reason why I'm going to suspend the comment reel is because a lot of very ignorant, generalized comments are made about people who are in the conscious community. And I'll be honest with you, I take issue with the fact that some of you put us all in one box. I take issue with the fact that some of you think that someone who talks on a radio show that their work is as important as someone who saves lives. I'm sorry, but I take issue with that. I take issue with the fact that you may think that someone who makes DVDs and videos is just as important as someone who keeps our children out of jail. I'm sorry, I take issue with that. I understand that so many of you live on Facebook, you live on social network. Your whole life is social media. Mine is not. And so if you don't see it on social media, as far as you're concerned, it doesn't exist. I think it's very disingenuous to lump all people who can be classified as conscious under the same umbrella. When I hear people say such ridiculous things as, you all are our leaders and you need to work together. What exactly is your definition of leadership? So anyone who has a YouTube account, anyone with a radio show, anyone with a Snapchat or a Twitter who espouses conscious rhetoric is automatically a leader. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to take issue with that. Supporters, you can text my phone if you have a comment. I'm sorry. It doesn't make anyone better than anyone else, but we are not all in the same field. Spike Lee does not get mentioned in the same paragraph as Malcolm X. John Singleton doesn't get mentioned with the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. Tyler Perry has no place in the same conversation with a Nat Turner. There are areas of work, but they are not made equal. There are areas of work, but they are not made equal. So because of these ridiculous oversimplifications that are made within the realm of black consciousness, I've decided that I'm going to have to limit the comments that you all make until you raise your intellectual, analytical skill and abilities and talents. For those of you who know me, you know I'm a doctor of clinical psychology, a certified school psychologist. You know that I've been engaged in the struggle to save my people since I was in elementary school. If you speak to anyone who knows me from elementary school, North Philadelphia, anyone who knows me from middle school, West Philadelphia, anyone who knows me from high school, Chambersburg, PA, by way of Philadelphia at the Scotland School, those who went to college with me at Millersville University, Lehigh University, okay, those who went to school with me, Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, those who worked with me in the school district of Philadelphia, Chester Upland School District, points beyond, those who were with me in the Universal Negro Improvement Association, the NAACP, so forth and so on. You know that I did not come to consciousness because I saw a financial opportunity for myself. I did not come to consciousness because I saw a financial opportunity for myself. I was already about this work. It's a time for clarity. I was already about this work. There are two other gentlemen who I'm going to speak on briefly. I have no reason to believe they've been in this work since they were youths. They came to this work recently when they saw an opportunity to get paid off consciousness. My opinion, I offer it sincerely, not caring who is offended by it. And the only reason why I'm doing this tonight is because neither one of those gentlemen have any business allowing my name to roll off of their lips. Both of them know. I don't mess with them. Either one of them. Don't mess with you, don't want to mess with you. So I'm going to give a little history on both. I'm going to start with Sister Joyce, and then I'll move on to Sister Nasheed. Let's start with Sister Joyce. I was speaking at Central State University in Ohio a couple of years ago. A phone call came through to the organizer of the conference at which I was presenting in Dayton, Ohio, Central State. Shout out to the HBCUs. If memory serves me correctly, I was told that Dr. Boyce Watkins is in town. Dr. Boyce Watkins is in town. He would like to meet with you. You're speaking here, he's speaking at another event. your event ends before his, he would like for you to come down. He would like to meet you. No problem. Another brother wants to build with Dr. Umar Johnson. That's what we're supposed to be about. I accepted Dr. Boyce Watkins' invitation to meet him. He was downtown somewhere, some event. It was like a luncheon or dinner. I saw him. We shook hands. I sat next to him. We exchanged numbers. He said he wanted to speak with me about some things. No problem, brother. Let's talk. The evening went well. I wasn't there long. Many of the people there recognized me. I spoke with them. It was a good first meeting between Dr. Watkins and myself. I would see him again in Boston at the Mass Incarceration Conference. We spoke. We chatted. I believe we sat next to each other during lunch, if memory serves me correctly. I believe we had a lunch conversation. So Boyce Watkins met Dr. Umar Johnson in Dayton, Ohio. And Boyce Watkins met Dr. Umar Johnson again in Boston, Massachusetts. Both times we had brief, direct conversation face to face. Following these two meetings, as God is my witness, and when I get to Sister Nasheed, God is my witness again on that hidden history of hidden colors. The hidden history of hidden colors. Talking all that shit, you in a box? Okay. You got my number, hit me up. 215-989-9858. Where you want to do this at? I'm going to get to you in a minute. So, right after this meeting with Boyce Watkins that happened twice, he goes home, grabs his laptop, crawls under his bed, gets on social network, and asks his people, do you know where Dr. Umar Johnson received his doctorate degree? This is what he did. Why would you invite a man to come meet you, shake his hand, take a picture with him, meet him again in another setting, Boston, Massachusetts, break bread with the man, go home, get on social network, and then ask the general public, where did he get his doctorate degree? You could have asked him that yourself in Dayton, Ohio. You could have asked him that yourself in Boston, Massachusetts. Still further, if it was that important to you, you could have texted him, emailed him. You keep your ass on the internet. You can't possibly have a job because every day I wake up, you sending me emails. Do me a favor. Can you please take my email off of your listserv? I would greatly appreciate it. I do not want to be on your listserv. Take me off. 5-6 emails a day. Take me off, brother. I don't want to be on it. I do not like you. You're disrespectful. You're a troublemaker. You're malicious and you're jealous. Take me off. So that situation happened. He's running around asking people where I get my degree. And if you know anything about the art of subliminal suggestion, if you know anything about the art of subliminal suggestion, you introduce something, you say something, or you put out a piece of evidence with the intent of trying to a certain type of response. Now you're saying it as if it's innocent. You're putting it out there as if I just want to know. You're acting naive about the situation, but the truth of the matter is you're trying to feed the hate. There were already questions going around about my doctorate degree. part of it stems from the fact I never saw the need to have credentials from white institutions validated to work for black people. I never saw the need to see credentials from white universities validated in order for me to serve my people. I never felt I had to prove myself. The only reason why I gave my doctoral degree granting institution permission to tell people who contacted them that I had graduated from there is because they were being overwhelmed with phone calls from black people. Just like the reason I have to go to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania on January the 8th is because they have been overwhelmed with complaints about me from feminists, homosexuals, multiculturalists, and jealous members of the larger community. Boyce Watkins helped to feed that. And after he questioned my degrees, when he could have asked me, I believe it was the year before last. You all know better than me. I'm so busy, I don't remember dates. It was either 2016 or 2015. Y'all remember me and Boyce Watkins, Bitch Watkins, whatever his name is, we had that exchange. He made 3 videos. He made 3 videos, I believe, in less than 24 hours about the school. He brought his girlfriend on one of the videos, had her pose as if she was some kind of independent analyst, offering lopsided, imbalanced criticisms of me and the FDMG campaign. Some of y'all remember that. Some of y'all remember that. Why would you make a video about a brother criticizing and using subliminal suggestion to try to hint to people that he's stealing money? This is what Boyce Watkins did. First, my credentials, and then the GoFundMe. If you go on YouTube right now, type in Boyce and Umar. Go on YouTube right now, type in Boyce and Umar, and look at all the videos this moist-ass Negro has been making about me. I have never made a video about another man unless I had to respond to an attack like this. I've only had to make one other one. That was last Kwanzaa. This is my second one. I don't use my platform to talk about men. And of course there's been times when me and Sinetta went at it, where I've had to checkmate those situations. I think we're beyond that now. I thank him for the positive things he's had to say, and I just hope they come from a place of sincerity, not opportunism. But I thank him for that. I thank him for that. So, as far as Boyce Watkins goes, he did another video. What part of what prompted this video, brothers and sisters? A couple of days ago, and you all saw it because you sent it to me because I don't follow Sister Joyce or Sister Nasheed. I don't follow neither one of them. Don't care what they saying, what they doing, it's irrelevant. He makes a video, I think it was 90 minutes or longer. He plays a clip of my message to a brother who I had issues with last Kwanzaa. He plays that clip during the course of his video about me. Why are you bringing up something from last year? That wasn't enough. He brought up the situation from 2015. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Particular female, he brought that up. He tried to condense as much hate as he possibly could into a video attacking my work, my character, and my agendas. Now, I know some of you would put me and Boyce Watkins in the same box. I'm going to have to disagree with that. I save lives for a living. I empower parents for a living. I guarantee opportunities for our babies for a living. I don't sit on no no laptop talking about economics when I ain't got no economics. Talking about investment, where is your portfolio? Since you're so worried about Dr. Umar Johnson's evidence of his work, where is yours? Because from what I'm seeing, I see a whole bunch of smoke and mirrors. Nothing you teaching can't be read in the Wall Street Journal or any other magazine you can get on the newsstand. But guess what? That's none of my business, brother. I don't speak on you. And I'm only offering these words now because I want you to keep my name out your mouth, because now it's personal. Now it's personal. And it will not stay on social network if my name come out your mouth again. It's personal now. You've done one video too many. It's personal now. I'm asking you, for the sake of the community, keep my goddamn name out your mouth. Make another video. We have to have an exchange. I'm not going to say what kind of exchange it is, but we're going to have an exchange. Chicago's a potential site for FDMG. Your ass can run, but you can't hide. I don't want my name coming out your mouth. I don't bother you, man. I don't bother your moist ass. What kind of feminized man spends so much time discussing another brother? What type of a feminized man spends so much time? It's like you addicted to me, brother. What is wrong with you? How do you have so much attention to pay to another man? Shouldn't you be running an investment club or something? I don't bother you. Stay your ass on your laptop under your bed in Chicago, bro. Can we agree to that? Can Boyce Watkins and Umar Johnson agree to never mention each other's name in public? Not even for good. Not even for good. I don't even need you to say my name for good. My community know what I do. I don't need no vouching from none of y'all. If me and Boyce can agree not to say each other's name, let me take that back. If Boyce can agree not to say my name, our beef is done. We ain't got no beef. If Boyce Watkins say, you know what? The brother don't like me mentioning his name. I need to man up and admit every video I made about this brother was a hate video, and let me back up. I left something out. Let me back up. I left something out. Do y'all remember an article that circulated that said Dr. Umar calls black people trifling? There was another one. Dr. Umar says black mothers make their sons gay. There was another one. And I'm seeing these negative articles circulating from a website, Your Black World. These negative articles circulating from a website, Your Black World. I did a lecture in Nevada. Boyce Watkins had one of his writers find a snippet from my 3-hour Nevada lecture, a snippet. And they wrote a whole article about me calling black people trifling. If you listen to the whole lecture, I clearly thanked black people for supporting me. If you listen to the whole lecture, it was a positive, informative school-to-prison pipeline lecture. But out of 3 hours, they found a snippet and used it to try to denigrate and castigate and impugn my political character. And I'm only dealing with political character. I don't get into people's personal character. None of my business. And I don't care none of their business. But political character, the work that I claim to be about, I need to be about it. So these articles are circulating, and I do my research, and I find out Joyce Watkins, moist ass Joyce Watkins, is the one circulating these negative articles. And then when the community asked him about it, his soft ass brothers and sisters who write for me say what they want to say. I can't control. It's freedom of speech. I just provide the platform. That's real interesting, Joyce. Because if you provide the platform, why in the hell you ain't never found somebody to write something half decent? Not that I give a damn. I'm just showing the contradictions in your hypocritical self. Not that I care. I don't want you writing nothing about me. I don't need nothing coming out my mouth, out your mouth about me. I don't need nothing coming out Tariq's mouth about me. I don't mess with y'all dudes. You go on a rant about my degrees. You met me twice. You letting people write articles, negative article after negative article about me on your platform. You met me twice, video after video about school money and credentials. As a man with a doctorate, allegedly, and I don't care if you got it or not, because Umar Johnson ain't that dude. I'm not that dude. I'm not investigating whether Boyce Watkins has a doctorate. It does not matter. I stay in my lane. Why can't your feminine ass do the same? So for the community, and many of you are hypocrites, because the same ones of you who will get up here and say we need peace among our leaders, and again, I don't know what definition we're using for that. The same ones of you who will get up here and say we need unity amongst our leaders will be the same ones promoting, spreading, tweeting, resharing negative information. There's a lot of hypocrisy in the conscious community. There's a lot of hypocrisy in the y'all start all this drama, and then soon when something hit the fan, oh, y'all need to work it out. But you're the reasons it even got there, because you're the ones promoting and sharing it. Y'all need to take some responsibility too. So I'm about to close up on Joyce. I just want the community to know, elders, whoever, I ain't got no problems with that guy. He doesn't exist to me. Ask the man not to make another video, I'll beat the squash. He make another video, next time I see him, there needs to be an exchange, verbal or otherwise. Me and Boyce need a face-to-face exchange, verbal or otherwise. Everybody understand me? Let me move on to Sister Nasheed. Let me give y'all the history. But before I give y'all the history, let me tell you why he being mentioned. And I want your bitch ass to know why you being mentioned. You don't need no ring? Alright. Let's handle that. I love to see that. I love to see that. I'm looking forward to seeing you, brother. Let's have that exchange. You don't need no ring. You ready. I'm ready for that. There's a video that somebody sent me, because I don't follow him either, where Tariq Nasheed decided to speak on my situation. This ain't the first time he decided to speak on my situation. He's done it before, but like I told you, people have a right to their opinions. And as black men, we all got egos, so I've seen little things he said here and there. I let it slide. But not this one, because he could have kept his mouth shut, because he know I don't fuck with him. I don't mess with you. Why is my name coming out your mouth? I don't mess with you. So, in this video that was sent to me, Tariq Nasheed says, and I'm paraphrasing, y'all think he stole the money. Some of y'all feel he stole the money. I don't know enough about it. I'm not for the man, I'm not against him. I'm not for him, I'm not against him. If he stole the money, charge it to the game. That's what happens. I'm a player. If Umar stole the money, I'm paraphrasing, y'all go watch the video on your own, charge it to the game. Here we go again, subliminal suggestion. Subliminal suggestion. If he stole it, fuck you mean if, you corny ass dude. If he stole it, charge it to the game. Do y'all see that? Subliminal subject. If, first of all, because of what I've done for you, made your product a household name. We're going to get into that in a minute. Out of respect for what I've done for you, you should have said, you know what? The doc ain't feeling me. I'm not feeling the doc. He went his own way after Hidden Colors 3. Cool. Publicly, he ain't threw me under the bus. I'ma respect him. I'm not going to address him at all. And let me be clear. I do not feel that you were supposed to defend me because of what I did for the Hidden Colors brand. I believe you have a right to your opinion. For whatever reason, you may generally feel that I stole money. Tariq may generally feel I stole money. I can't expect him to deny his own opinion just because of what I did for the Hidden Colors brand. No. But what I can expect him to do is shut the fuck up. What I can expect him to do is keep his mouth shut and not speak on me at all. This is what you should have did. But see, that envy, that competition, that ego, that Hollywood narcissism you got, forced you to open your mouth. Now I'ma shut that shit. Literally and figuratively. Literally and figuratively. And I know you got to do your live feed after that. So let me say this, brothers and sisters. Because this message is more about awareness than it is about destroying anybody. There's some things I know about Boyce Watkins that people have shared with me. I would not say those things because although this brother has been very disrespectful, as a black man, I would never want to embarrass another black man like that. There's things I know about Tariq Nasheed that people have shared with me and have provided proof of it. Things that I would never want said about me and I will never say about another man as much as I possibly can withhold from saying it. So this is just level one. This is level one. If I got to go to level 2, I will go to level 2. But this is level 1. Tonight's message is about unity in the community. Keep my name out your mouth so the community can keep on moving. If he stole the money, charge it to the game. I didn't appreciate that. I didn't appreciate that. You're not for me. You're not against me. I didn't appreciate that. If you're not for me, why make a comment at all? Then you go on this thing about I'm neutral. I'm neutral. I understand. You can't be aligned with me, dog. I'm grassroots in the trenches. You a Hollywood ass dude. You can't stand with me. You not about the life I'm about. You a TV dude. You ain't got nothing popping in the hood. You's a TV dude. Your whole platform is about trying to get exposure so you can end up being Don Lemon or some shit. I see what you're doing. And guess what? I ain't got a problem with it. What you do with your life, brother, is your business. But can you please keep my name out your mouth? That's all I'm saying. Do your radio show, that little shit you do it. Keep my name out your mouth. You go on, I'm neutral. You neutral? Bitch ass Tariq Nasheed, you neutral? You weren't neutral when I was selling all them Hidden Colors units though. You wasn't neutral for Hidden Colors 1. Your ass wasn't neutral when you reached out for Hidden Colors 2. Your ass wasn't neutral when you reached out for Hidden Colors 3. Isn't it amazing that you wasn't neutral when Hidden Colors was flying off the shelf because you had the notorious RBG on it? But all of a sudden, I ain't doing no more of your documentaries. You neutral now. That's how the game go, bro. That's how the game go. You neutral. What he say? I'm not for him. I'm not against him, bro. You don't ever say that out your mouth. That's just even if you feel that, you keep that in. As a code of honor, that brother is one of the reasons that documentary popped. He's the main reason that documentary everybody who saw Hidden Colors all over the world, if you ask them to name 2 scholars who carried the documentary, can we be honest for a minute? And you ask them to name 2 scholars who carry Hidden Colors, I don't know the second name. I don't know the second name. But there's not a person watching this conversation who don't know Dr. Umar Johnson is one of those 2 names. If you say, who's the main 2 from Hidden Colors 1? Who's the main 2 from Hidden Colors 2? Who's the main 2 from Hidden Colors 3? Tariq, Nasheed knows, and all the rest of you know that Umar Johnson's name will be mentioned 99% of the time. And if you don't believe it, we got some conscious mathematicians out there. They could do a poll. I bought it. Bruh, I watched it 10 times just to hear you. Bruh, everybody said, damn, did you hear him, the psychologist? I understand you put it together. You the Puff Daddy. But I'm not your Notorious. You the Puff Daddy. But I'm not your Notorious. And that's why when I saw you doing a little shady shit, I cut myself off from you, bro. I'ma get into that. I want the people to know why Dr. Umar don't fuck with you. You lame ass. So anyway, after telling people he neutral, see, you talk that white supremacy shit that you borrowed from me. I'm gonna get to that. You talk that white supremacy shit that you borrowed from me. I'm gonna get to that. People say, oh man, when I want to hear about white supremacy, I listen to Dr. Umar, and if I can't get no more Dr. Umar, I'm gonna go to Tariq. Well, guess what? When you listen to Tariq talk about white supremacy,